So hey, what's up guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. So in this video we are going to see what if Naruto inherit guts, berserk armor and sword. So this will be very interesting video, and this is a crossover between berserk and Naruto. So watch till end, and I have divided this video in 7 chapters so you can follow the video flow easily. And before getting into video, you have to make sure to subscribe, leave a like and share with your friend, and please make sure to subscribe and comment down your thoughts in comment section. So without wasting any more time, let's jump right back into the video.
Chapter 1, The Night Konoha Buried Him Alive Arc-I. The breaking opening hook. He didn't leave Konoha. Konoha left him first. They just used their hands to do it. The first thing Naruto heard was not the sound of footsteps. It was not the whisper of steel leaving a sheath, or the controlled breathing of masked shinobi moving through the dark like ghosts. It was a word. Containment. The word crawled through the stone walls beneath the Hokage Tower and sank into his chest like a cold blade. Naruto Uzumaki stood in the service corridor behind the sealed council chamber, one hand pressed against the wall, his breathing caught somewhere between anger and confusion. He had followed the sound because he had recognized one voice. Tsunade's, low, furious, trying not to shake. He had not expected to hear his own name. The Jinchuriki has become unstable, another voice said, old, political, safe behind wood and stone. The Nine Tails' influence grows more dangerous every year. The recent intelligence failures concerning Akatsuki only prove what we have avoided admitting. Naruto's fingers tightened against the wall. Jinchuriki, not Naruto, never Naruto. A chair scraped. You're talking about a child of this village, Tsunade said. No, Danzo's voice answered calmly. We are talking about a weapon this village has failed to properly secure. The silence that followed felt louder than shouting. Naruto's throat dried. Weapon, the word should have made him angry first. It should have lit something hot inside him, something familiar and stubborn, the same fire that had carried him through every insult, every glare, every lonely night with a cup of instant ramen warming his hands. But anger did not come first. Hurt did. It opened inside him quietly. A soft, terrible thing. Then another voice spoke, rougher than the rest, older, filled with a kind of tired disbelief. You people are insane. Naruto's eyes widened. Pervy sage, Jiraiya. The Sannin's voice carried through the chamber doors, not loud enough for the guards posted at the outer hall, but clear enough through the narrow maintenance passage where Naruto had hidden himself. He saved this village more times than half the people in this room know, Jiraiya said. He faced Gaara, he brought back intel, he fought for you, he bled for you, and you want to lock him underground because you're scared of what might happen. What might happen is precisely what leaders must prevent, Danzo said. Sentiment is not policy, neither is cowardice. Someone slammed a palm against the table. Enough, another elder snapped. The vote has already been called. Naruto stopped breathing. Vote, a scroll unrolled somewhere inside the chamber. The proposal stands, the elder continued. Naruto Uzumaki will be transferred to sublevel 9 beneath the village. A suppression prison will be established using layered chakra restraints, bloodline inhibitors, and root supervision. Public explanation. Extended training mission under Sannin authority. Access restricted to Hokage, council seal bearers, and designated containment personnel. Sublevel 9. Naruto knew that place only as rumor. Children whispered about it like a ghost story. A sealed prison beneath Konoha, older than the village's current laws, used only for things that could not be executed and could not be released, things, not people. The vote, Danzo said, one by one, voices answered. Yes, 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 no, Tsunade said. Yes, no, Jiraiya said. Yes, yes. 6-2. Naruto stared at the wall. For a moment, the world became strangely simple. The village had made a choice. Not the people in the market who sold him vegetables with forced smiles. Not Ikaraku, where Iame still gave him extra pork when she thought he looked too thin. Not the academy roof where Uruka had once sat beside him and told him he was not alone, but the village, the machine of it. The thing with seals, doors, reports, orders, and men like Danzo who could turn a beating heart into a line of strategy on parchment. That village had looked at him and decided he belonged underground. Something moved in the darkness behind him. Naruto turned too late. A hand clamped over his mouth. His body reacted before thought could catch up. He twisted, drove an elbow backward, felt it hit armor, and tried to pull chakra to his feet. A seal slapped against his neck. His chakra vanished, not weakened. Gone. The absence hit harder than any punch. Naruto staggered, eyes wide, as three masked shinobi stepped out from the shadows. Their masks were not Anbu white, they were blanker, colder root. One held up two fingers. Target has heard enough. Naruto lunged anyway, no chakra, no clones, no fox power, just fear. He ducked under the first strike, grabbed the wrist of the nearest root operative, and slammed his forehead into the man's mask hard enough to crack it. Pain flashed through Naruto's skull, but he didn't stop. He kicked off the wall and made for the corridor bend, a wire wrapped around his ankle. He hit the stone floor shoulder first. The root operative moved in with a second suppression tag. Then the wall exploded, not with fire, with hair. Thick white strands burst through the stone like living ropes and wrapped around the root shinobi, pinning them against the opposite wall. Naruto rolled away coughing as dust filled the passage. Jiraiya stepped through the broken opening. He looked wrong. That was Naruto's first thought, not weak. Jiraiya never looked weak, but his face had gone pale beneath the red lines under his eyes. His left hand clutched his ribs. Dark stains spread across his battle vest, hidden badly by dust and shadow. Pervy sage, no talking. Jiraiya's voice was rough. Run! Naruto pushed himself up. What happened to you? Jiraiya looked past him down the corridor. More footsteps, too many. Politics happened. A bitter smile pulled at his mouth, then vanished. Root operatives poured into the passage. Jiraiya moved before they could form hand signs. His hair swept forward, slamming two into the ceiling, throwing another through a side door, blocking a storm of senbon with a curtain of hardened strands. Even injured, even bleeding, even cornered, Jiraiya of the Sannin was still a force that made trained killers hesitate. But hesitation was not fear. Root did not fear. They advanced because they had been trained to become orders wearing skin. Naruto tried to draw chakra again. Nothing answered. The seal on his neck burned cold. Jiraiya shoved him backward. North Service Tunnel. It opens near the Monument Forest. I'm not leaving you, you are. Jiraiya coughed, then forced himself upright. That's not a request. Naruto shook his head, panic rising. No, we can fight. We can tell Granny Tsunade. We can. Tsunade lost the vote. The words landed like a closed door. Jiraiya's eyes softened. For 1 second, beneath the blood, dust, and rage, he looked like the man who had taught Naruto to walk on water by knocking him into it, who had shouted at him for wasting chakra, who had smiled too proudly when Naruto first held a Rasengan in his palm. She tried, Jiraiya said quietly. So did I. Naruto's lips trembled. Behind Jiraiya, one of the pinned root shinobi lifted a hand and placed 2 fingers to his own chest. A seal began to glow. Jiraiya saw Naruto's eyes move. He turned too late. The corridor flashed white. The blast was controlled, narrow, designed for underground use. Not enough to collapse the tower. Enough to erase the space between one heartbeat and the next. Naruto woke on his back. His ears rang. Dust fell from the ceiling like gray snow. For a moment, he couldn't remember how to move. Then he saw Jiraiya. The Sannin was on one knee, one hand braced against the floor. His hair had formed a shield around them, but it was burned away in places, smoking at the edges. His breathing sounded wrong, too wet, too shallow. Naruto crawled to him. Pervy sage. Jiraiya reached for him, fingers shaking. Naruto grabbed his hand. Listen to me. Jiraiya's voice was almost gone. Do not let them put you in that prison. Naruto shook his head. I'll get help. No, Granny can heal you. Naruto. The way he said his name made Naruto stop. Not brat, not kid, Naruto. Jiraiya forced something into his hand. A small emergency scroll sealed with a toad mark. Run north. Don't trust Root. Don't trust the council. Don't let anger make you stupid. Naruto's eyes blurred. I don't know where to go. Jiraiya smiled then, and it broke something in him. Neither did I, half my life. A faint tremor passed through the floor. More shinobi were coming. Jiraiya's grip tightened one last time. Live first, dream later. His hand went slack. Naruto stared at him. The ringing in his ears faded. In its place came a sound he had known since childhood. A low growl from somewhere deep inside his seal. Kurama. The fox stirred, furious and vast, a shadow behind iron bars. Open the seal, the beast hissed. Open it, and I will burn them. Naruto's hand closed around the toad-marked scroll. For one heartbeat, he wanted the holes to shake. He wanted Danzo to feel fear. He wanted every mask, every elder, every person who had said yes to understand what it meant to call him a weapon. Then Jiraiya's last words rose through the smoke. Don't let anger make you stupid. Naruto ran. He ran through the North Service tunnel with Root behind him and grief inside him. His shoulder hit corners. His sandals scraped stone. Twice he nearly fell because the suppression seal on his neck made his balance feel wrong. Chakra had always been part of him, even when he was bad at controlling it. Without it, his body felt hollow. Behind him, distant voices barked orders. Target moving north. Do not kill unless escape becomes inevitable. Containment tags ready. Containment. The word chased him harder than footsteps. The tunnel opened into the monument forest just beyond the village wall, where old trees grew thick among broken training posts and abandoned stone markers from wars most people no longer talked about. Night waited outside. Cold. Windy. Moonless. Naruto burst from the hidden door and almost collapsed into the underbrush. He tore the suppression tag from his neck with shaking fingers. Skin came with it. Pain flared. Chakra returned like a flood. Too much. Too fast. He stumbled, clutching his chest as Kurama roared inside him, "Let me out." No, Naruto gasped. They killed him. Naruto bit down until his jaw hurt. I know, they will cage you. I know. His shout echoed through the trees. For a second, everything went still. Then kunai cut through the air. Naruto dropped by instinct. The blade skimmed over his hair and struck a tree behind him. An explosion tag wrapped around its handle flared. He leapt aside as the blast tore bark and earth apart. The chase continued. Anbu joined Root at the forest edge. Naruto could tell the difference by how they moved. Anbu hesitated. Some of them knew him. Some had watched him grow from hated child to stubborn genin to the Jinchuriki everyone needed when things went wrong. Root did not hesitate. That difference saved his life. He used the Anbu hesitation like a gap in a fence. Naruto formed a hand sign. Shadow clone jutsu? Nothing happened. His fingers shook. The seal's aftereffects still crawled through his chakra pathways, disrupting the flow. He tried again. The sign slipped. Another tag struck his sleeve. He ripped it free before it activated, but the delay cost him. A blunt strike hit the back of his knee. Naruto fell hard. A masked shinobi landed on his spine. Another caught his wrist. A third placed a palm against his stomach, directly over the 8-trigram seal. Panic swallowed everything? No, the word tore out of him raw. Red chakra flared, not controlled, not enough for a cloak, just a burst. The Root operatives flew back, sliding through dirt and broken branches. Naruto scrambled up, half limping, and ran deeper into the forest. He did not know where he was going. He only knew he could not stop. Trees blurred. Branches scratched his face. The ground sloped downward, then broke beneath his feet. Naruto fell. The ravine swallowed him without warning. He struck the first ledge with his shoulder, bounced, rolled, hit another slope, and crashed into a basin of old stone at the bottom. For several seconds, he lay there unable to breathe. Above him, the forest edge was a jagged black line against the sky. Far away, voices called to each other. He had maybe minutes, maybe less. Naruto pushed himself up. His body screamed. One rib was bruised, maybe cracked. His left wrist throbbed. His head spun. The scroll Jiraiya had given him was still clenched in his hand, crushed but unbroken. He looked around. The ravine was not natural. Stone pillars lay half buried in the ground. Old weapons, rusted beyond use, jutted from the earth at strange angles. A battlefield ruin forgotten beneath roots and mud. The air felt colder here. Then he saw the chest. It sat half buried beneath a collapsed stone arch, wrapped in iron bands as thick as a man's wrist. No village symbol marked it, no clan crest, no warning seal written in any script Naruto knew. But there was something carved into the front, a spiral, not the Uzumaki spiral, older, sharper, almost like a whirlpool drawn by someone who hated water. Naruto stared at it. Kurama went silent. That silence frightened him more than the fox's rage. "What is it?" Naruto whispered, no answer. Above the ravine, a shadow moved. Target located. Naruto turned. 3 shinobi dropped from the cliffside, 2 root. 1 Anbu. The Anbu wore a dog mask. Naruto's heart clenched. For one impossible second, he thought it was Kakashi, but the stance was wrong. The chakra was wrong, not Kakashi. Still, the mask made it hurt. "Naruto Uzumaki," the Anbu said, voice strained. "Stand down, we have orders to return you alive." Naruto laughed once. It did not sound like him. "Alive where?" The Anbu did not answer. Root moved first. Naruto reached for chakra. The old disruption twisted inside him again. His hand signs failed. He managed half a Rasengan, unstable and flickering, before a wire wrapped around his wrist and yanked his arm wide. A tag flew toward his chest. He stumbled backward. His heel struck the iron chest. The spiral carving flared black. Every shinobi froze. The chest opened, not with a creak, with a breath. Cold air rushed out, carrying the smell of iron, old rain, and something deeper than death. Inside lay armor folded impossibly tight, jagged black plates resting around a helm shaped like the skull of a beast that had forgotten how to die. Naruto should have stepped away. Every instinct told him to. Even Kurama, ancient and proud and furious, snarled one word: "Don't." A suppression chain snapped around Naruto's left arm. Root pulled. The Anbu raised a tag. The seal on Naruto's stomach burned. For a moment, Naruto saw the future clearly, not a dream, not a vision. Just the simple shape of what would happen if he let them take him. A stone room beneath the village. Chakra chains, no sunlight, no ramen, no laughter, no Jiraiya, only containment. The armor moved. One black plate unfolded from the chest like a hand. Naruto did not reach for it. It reached for him. Iron clamped around his wrist. Pain exploded up his arm. He screamed. The shinobi rushed forward, but the rest of the armor surged from the chest in a storm of plates, straps, and hooked joints. It wrapped around Naruto's body piece by piece, too fast to stop, too deliberate to be random. His orange jacket tore beneath it. The black iron swallowed the bright color like night swallowing fire. A chest plate slammed into place. Greaves locked around his legs. Gauntlets closed over his hands. Something pierced not skin, not exactly, but deeper, like the armor had found the idea of his body and hooked itself into that. Inside the seal, Kurama roared. For the first time Naruto had ever heard, the 9 tails sounded afraid. The armor answered, not in words, in pressure. A crushing force dropped through Naruto's inner world. The great cage around Kurama shuddered as black iron roots crawled over the seal bars, layering a second prison over the first. Kurama slammed against them. "Brat! Take IT off!" Naruto couldn't move. The helm lifted from the chest. For 1 second, he saw his reflection in its dark surface. A boy with tear tracks cutting through dust. A boy who wanted to be Hokage. A boy the village had voted to bury. Then the helm closed over his face. The world turned red, not red like blood, red like memory burned down to instinct. Every sound sharpened. Every heartbeat became a drum. The root operative nearest him stepped forward and slapped a containment tag against his chest. The tag burned white, then black, then crumbled. The operative stepped back. Naruto looked at him. No, the armor looked. The first movement was small, a tilt of the head. The second was not. Naruto crossed the distance between them before anyone could form a seal. His gauntleted fist struck the operative's chest plate and sent him flying across the ravine into a stone pillar hard enough to crack it. The Anbu shouted something. Naruto did not hear words anymore, Only threat, threat left, threat right, threat above. A kunai struck his shoulder and bounced off the armor in sparks. The impact should have hurt. It didn't. That was the worst part. Naruto felt the damage happen somewhere far away, like listening to someone describe pain in another room. His body was injured. His mind knew it, but the armor did not care. It moved him forward. One root shinobi formed hand signs. Earth-style, Naruto grabbed his wrist. Bones shifted under the gauntlet. The armor corrected Naruto's grip, forcing strength through muscles that were not ready for it. The shinobi dropped to one knee with a strangled gasp as Naruto threw him into the dirt. Not dead, broken, disabled, efficient. The Anbu with the dog mask came from behind, using the body flicker technique, fast. Naruto's old self would have tried to dodge. The armor did not. It let the strike land. A short blade drove into the side of the chest plate and stuck between the ribs beneath. Naruto's body tried to flinch. The armor locked his spine. Then Naruto turned. The Anbu tried to pull away. Too late. Naruto caught the front of the dog mask and slammed him into the ravine wall. The mask cracked. The shinobi slid down, unconscious. More movement above. 4 figures on the cliff. Then 6. Then 10, Anbu and Root together, their silhouettes ringed by the faint glow of prepared jutsu. Naruto stared up at them through the red visor. Somewhere inside, deep under iron and rage and fear, a small voice begged him to run. The armor chose forward. Naruto leapt. He should not have been able to. The ravine wall was too steep. His legs were injured. His body had already taken too much damage. The armor bypassed the question of ability. It drove force through bone and muscle until the answer became yes. Naruto hit the cliffside halfway up, fingers carving into stone. His left hand slipped. The armor's gauntlet punched into the rock, holding him there. He climbed like a beast, each movement cracking stone beneath him. The shinobi above scattered, too slow. He reached the top and moved through them like a storm made of iron. He did not use jutsu, he did not use clones, he did not call Kurama. A staff broke against his forearm. A lightning blade scraped sparks across his shoulder. Wind jutsu slammed into his side and pushed him back 3 steps before he leaned into it and kept walking. A root captain shouted, "Immobilize him!" Chakra chains launched from 4 directions. They wrapped around his arms, legs, and neck. For one breath they held. Naruto's body strained. The armor tightened. He felt something snap in his left hand. A finger, maybe 2. The pain vanished before it could become real. He pulled. The chains broke, not all at once, one by one. Each with a sound like metal screaming. The shinobi holding them stumbled forward. Naruto met them halfway. By the time the wind settled, the forest clearing was silent except for the creak of old branches and the harsh, unnatural breathing inside the helm. No one stood in his path. Naruto turned toward Konoha. The village lights glowed beyond the trees. Warm, safe. Home, the red visor flickered. For 1 second, the haze thinned. Naruto saw the gate. He saw the symbol carved into it, the leaf. He remembered being a little boy outside that gate, pretending not to notice when adults moved their children behind them. He remembered Uruka buying him ramen. He remembered Kakashi's lazy wave. Sakura shouting at him. Sasuke smirking. Jiraiya laughing too loud. He remembered wanting that village to say his name with pride. Then he remembered the vote. 6-2, the armor pulsed. The memory broke. Naruto turned north. He walked. At first, every step was heavy, dragging through mud and fallen leaves. Then the armor adjusted. Plates shifted. Straps tightened. The iron learned his body better than he knew it himself. Inside the seal, Kurama raged beneath the second cage. "Naruto, listen to me. That thing is eating you." Naruto heard him from very far away, like thunder beneath water. His hands shook. The gauntlet stopped them. He walked until the trees thinned and the village lights faded behind fog. Only then did the armor loosen, not release. Never release, just loosen enough for pain to return. Naruto collapsed to one knee. The first breath nearly made him black out. Everything hurt. His ribs, his wrist, his fingers, his shoulder where the blade had slipped between armor plates. His legs trembled like they no longer belonged to him. The helmet split open just enough for cold air to touch his face. Naruto tried to scream. Only a broken sound came out. He fumbled for the scroll Jiraiya had given him. Somehow, it was still there, tucked beneath a torn piece of orange fabric trapped under the chest plate. Naruto pulled the fabric free. A piece of his jacket, bright orange, ridiculous, stubborn, his fingers closed around it. For the first time since the chamber, tears came not loud, not dramatic, just silent drops falling onto black iron. "I didn't want this," he whispered. The armor did not answer. Kurama did. For once, the fox's voice held no mockery. "Then take it off." Naruto looked down, at the jagged plates locked around his arms, at the seams that had already sunk too close to skin, at the chest plate rising and falling with his breath as if it had always belonged there. He reached for the edge of the gauntlet. The armor tightened. His fingers stopped moving. A cold understanding settled over him. He could run from Konoha. He could run from Root. He could run from the council, the prison, the village that had chosen fear over faith. But he could not run from this. Not anymore. Behind him, far away, the first alarm bells rang from Konoha's walls. Naruto pushed himself to his feet. He tucked the scrap of orange cloth beneath the armor. Then he walked north again. No destination, no mission, no dream, only movement, only fog. Only the sound of black iron breathing with him. Kakashi Hatake reached the ravine at dawn. He came alone. Not because orders allowed it, but because by the time anyone thought to give him orders, he had already left. The forest smelled of smoke, broken earth, and old chakra. Anbu moved at the perimeter, speaking in low voices, but none entered the ravine itself. Something about the place made even veteran shinobi keep their distance. Kakashi dropped silently to the basin floor. His visible eye took in everything. The broken stone arch, the iron-banded chest, empty now. The marks in the ground where something heavy had dragged itself free, the scattered tags, all burned black. The unconscious shinobi had already been removed. Root would hide its own casualties. Anbu would write careful reports. The council would call it an incident. Kakashi crouched near a patch of mud. There, half buried beneath dirt and ash, lay a strip of orange fabric. He picked it up. For a long moment he said nothing. The cloth was torn from Naruto's jacket, not cut, not removed cleanly, dissolved at the edges as if something had eaten through it. Kakashi closed his eye. He thought of Naruto grinning too widely after failing a basic exercise. Naruto shouting that he would surpass every Hokage. Naruto pretending loneliness was the same as confidence. Naruto, who had been loud because silence had never been safe for him. A masked Anbu landed behind him. "Kakashi-senpai, we found signs he moved north. Should we pursue?" Kakashi opened his eye. His gaze shifted to the empty chest, then to the clawed handprints carved into stone, then to the orange cloth in his palm. He understood too much and not enough. "No," he said. The Anbu hesitated. "Senpai," Kakashi stood slowly. His voice was quiet, heavy. He put it on willingly. The words felt like betrayal as soon as he said them, but they were true. And somewhere beyond the forest, beyond Konoha's walls, beyond the reach of the village that had decided a boy was easier to bury than trust, Naruto Uzumaki walked into the north wearing a monster's skin. The world would not know his name for a while. The underworld would give him a new one later. The hollow maelstrom. But that morning, before contracts, before black markets, before Akatsuki began whispering about the armored Jinchuriki who could not be sealed, he was still only Naruto. A boy in black iron, a boy with no home behind him. A boy walking toward the first quiet place that would not try to cage him. And inside the armor, beneath the rage, beneath the pain it refused to let him feel, one small human thing remained. A scrap of orange cloth, pressed against his heart. Chapter 2. Contracts written in Ash Arc Roman 2. The mercenary opening hook. The hollow maelstrom didn't negotiate price. He named it once. You paid, or you became the demonstration. 6 months changed the shape of a man. 6 months could turn a loud boy into a rumor. 6 months could take the name Naruto Uzumaki and bury it under snow, blood, iron, and silence, until even the people who remembered him began speaking of him like he had died somewhere on the road. But the shinobi underworld had no patience for grief. It named useful things quickly: a poison, a forbidden jutsu, a missing nin with a famous bounty, a weapon that survived every battlefield it walked through. So when stories began moving through taverns, black market gambling dens, and smuggler tunnels beneath the land of iron, they did not say Naruto Uzumaki. They said something else. The hollow maelstrom, Atsuro no Uzu, a storm with nothing inside. The first story came from a border raid near the Land of Frost. A gang of deserter shinobi had occupied a mining village and declared themselves independent lords. The local samurai hired outside help after losing 2 patrols. At midnight, something in black iron walked through the front gate. By sunrise, the deserters were gone, not escaped. Gone. The second story came from a smuggler caravan that tried to cheat its own mercenary guard. The employer refused payment after the job was complete. The black-armored boy listened, turned around, and walked away. The employer laughed. Then the warehouse behind him collapsed. No one laughed after that. The third story had no witnesses except one blind old monk, and even he admitted he only heard it. 32 missing nins surrounded the armored mercenary on a mountain road. They demanded his weapon, his money, and his name. He gave them none of those things. By morning, the road was open again. After that, the brokers started using his title carefully, not loudly, never mockingly. The hollow maelstrom was not famous in the way heroes were famous. No children pretended to be him with sticks in training yards. No village hung posters of him. No daimyo wanted to claim friendship with him. He was famous the way storms were famous. You planned around him. You prayed he passed somewhere else. And if you had enough money, enough desperation, and enough sense not to waste his time, you could hire him. The black market beneath the Land of Iron did not exist on any map. Officially, the Land of Iron remained neutral. Samurai guarded its mountain passes, its borders, and its ancient codes with the same discipline they gave their blades. Shinobi wars came and went. Hidden villages rose, fell, betrayed, rebuilt, and renamed old grudges as new policies. The Land of Iron remained still, at least on the surface. Beneath its frozen trade roads, hidden behind false mine shafts and old furnace tunnels, there was another nation entirely. A nation of contract boards, sealed scroll drops, stolen intelligence, missing nin recruiters, corpse buyers, weapon dealers, chakra surgeons, and men who sold secrets because secrets were lighter than gold and usually worth more. They called it the ash market, not because it had burned down, because everything sold there eventually did. Naruto entered through an abandoned iron mine 3 hours after sunset. Snow covered the mountains above. Down below, the tunnels sweated heat from old forge vents. Lanterns hung from hooks hammered into stone, each flame burning behind colored glass to mark different districts. Blue for information, green for medicine, red for weapons, white for contracts, black for things nobody admitted buying. Naruto walked beneath them all. The crowd parted without needing to be told. He wore a cloak over the armor now, but it did not hide enough. Nothing could. The shape beneath the cloth was wrong for a normal body, too angular at the shoulders, too heavy at the spine. The cloak dragged behind him where iron plates shifted under the fabric like something alive trying to sleep. At his back rested the slab. No one who saw it called it a sword. A sword had a promise of elegance. A sword implied a duel, a contest, some shared agreement that both sides were participating in a skilled exchange. The weapon Naruto carried was closer to a door ripped off a fortress and sharpened by accident. It was a massive iron slab wrapped at the grip with dark leather, wide enough to shield his torso and long enough to carve lines into the ground when he lowered it. There were no decorative markings, no maker's seal, no clan symbol. It existed for one reason: forward motion. The first time Naruto had found it, he had not been looking for a weapon. He had been walking through the remains of a ruined bridge town where bandits had stripped every house, but missed the collapsed foundry at the edge of the river. The slab had been part of an unfinished siege gate, too heavy for 5 men to lift and too crude for any swordsman to respect. The armor had looked at it. Naruto had picked it up. That had been the end of the question. Now the slab rested across his back like a second shadow. People moved away from it. People moved away from him. At the center of the ash market was a contract hall built inside an old smelting chamber. Its ceiling vanished into darkness. Iron walkways ringed the upper levels. Below, brokers sat in booths protected by paper seals, hired muscle, and the kind of reputation that made assassination bad for business. Naruto approached the White Lantern district. A thin man behind a desk looked up and immediately lost color in his face. The broker wore layered robes, fingerless gloves, and a chain of identification tags around his neck. His right eye had been replaced with a polished glass bead marked with a tiny seal. It focused on Naruto with a faint click. "Maelstrom-sama," the broker said quickly. Naruto stopped in front of the desk. The broker swallowed. "I have 3 available contracts suited to your preferences." Naruto did not answer. That was usually enough. The broker began laying scrolls on the table. First, escort duty through the Eastern Pass. High risk of ambush from stone deserters. Payment is decent, but the employer insists on discretion, no movement. Second, assassination of a minor noble in the land of rivers. Political. Clean entry and clean exit requested, still nothing. The broker hesitated before placing the 3rd scroll down. Third, elimination contract. Rogue Kumo weapons ring operating out of an abandoned fortress near the northern coast. They have been raiding caravans, stealing military-grade tools, selling lightning channel weapons to bandits and missing nin. Multiple Jonin level guards confirmed. Possible summoning support. No requirement for capture. No restriction on damage to the compound. Naruto's hand moved. The broker stopped breathing. A black gauntlet emerged from beneath the cloak and touched the 3rd scroll. "How much?" the broker asked, already knowing Naruto would not ask first. Naruto's voice came through the helmet low and rough, as if dragged across stone. "Triple." The broker blinked. "The posted value is already." Naruto looked at him. The broker closed his mouth, then nodded quickly. "Triple, of course. Hazard premium." Naruto picked up the scroll. The broker forced a professional smile. "Will you require maps, team composition, enemy roster?" Naruto turned away. The broker's smile faded. "No, then." Naruto walked toward the exit. A drunk mercenary near the weapon stalls watched him pass. The man was broad-shouldered, scarred, and surrounded by friends who had clearly been encouraging him all night. He had the look of someone strong enough to have survived bad decisions before, which usually made men believe they could survive one more. "Hey," the drunk called. The ash market went quiet in sections. First the stalls nearest Naruto, then the booths, then the walkways above. Naruto stopped. The drunk grinned, encouraged by his own fear. "You're the big ghost everyone talks about. Thought you'd be taller." His friends did not laugh. That should have warned him. The drunk stepped forward, one hand on the hilt of a curved blade. "They say you don't talk. That true? Or are you just shy under all that scrap metal?" Naruto did not turn around fully. Only his head moved. A small tilt, predatory, curious. The broker behind the desk whispered, "Don't!" The drunk drew his sword halfway. "I'm talking to you." Naruto's hand reached back, not for the slab. That would have been too much. Instead, he picked up a small iron weight from a nearby merchant table. A plain counterweight used to measure ore. He tossed it lightly once. The drunk sneered. "What are you going to do with?" Naruto flicked his wrist. The iron weight crossed the space faster than most people could track. It struck the drunk's sword hilt, shattered the guard, snapped the blade back into its sheath, and drove the entire weapon hard into the man's stomach. He folded over with a sound like air leaving a punctured bag and collapsed to his knees. The room remained silent. Naruto dropped a coin on the merchant's table for the weight. Then he walked out. No one followed. No one laughed, and the ash market returned to business, quieter than before. The target fortress sat 3 days north, where the mountains broke into black cliffs and the sea hurled itself against the rocks below. Once, it had been a military outpost during a border dispute between the land of iron and a minor northern lord who no longer had descendants. Now it belonged to thieves with shinobi training and enough stolen Kumo equipment to become a problem. The weapons ring called itself Thunderjaw. Naruto learned that from the sentries, not because he questioned them, because they shouted it before attacking him. The first two died badly in the snowstorm. No, not died. Naruto corrected the thought with the dull, distant discipline he had developed over 6 months. Disabled, he tried to avoid killing when possible, not because the armor cared. The armor did not care. But some part of him, buried deep beneath black iron, still flinched at the difference. That part had been louder in the beginning. Now it was quieter. The fortress rose ahead of him in the storm, all broken walls and watchtowers reinforced with newer steel. Lightning rods had been fixed along the battlements, drawing natural charge from the sky into storage seals carved into the stone. A good defense. Against normal attackers, Naruto walked up the main road. No stealth. No plan. The first alarm bell rang when he was 50 meters from the gate. The second rang when the wall guards saw what he was wearing. The third never rang because Naruto threw the iron slab through it. The bell tower burst apart in a shower of wood and metal. The gate guards opened fire. Kunai, Senbon. Lightning charged bolts from stolen Kumo launchers. Naruto kept walking. Most of the projectiles struck the cloak and armor, sparking harmlessly off black plates. A few found gaps. One pierced his thigh. Another lodged near his ribs. The pain registered somewhere behind a closed door. The armor warmed. That was how Naruto had come to understand its moods. Cold meant waiting. Warm meant interest. Hot meant hunger. Tonight it was only warm. Good. Warm meant he could still think. A little. The fortress gate began to close. Naruto reached back and drew the slab from its harness. The sound alone made 3 guards step away. He planted his feet in the snow for a moment. He remembered another stance, feet apart, palm out, chakra spinning, a blue sphere in his hand. A teacher's voice laughing behind him. "You've got terrible balance, brat." Naruto's fingers twitched. The memory hurt more than the bolt in his leg. Then the gate locked. The moment vanished. Naruto swung the slab. It did not cut the gate. It erased the center of it. Wood exploded inward. Metal bands snapped. The shockwave rolled through the courtyard and threw the closest defenders off their feet. Naruto stepped through the hole. Inside, Thunderjaw had prepared for an army. Trenches cut through the courtyard. Reinforced towers created overlapping lines of fire. Wire traps hung under the snow. Summoning circles had been painted near the inner keep. Kumo lightning blades sat in weapon racks along the wall. 100 small decisions, all made by men who understood warfare. Naruto did not respect any of them. He walked forward. The first trap snapped around his ankle. Steel teeth bit into armor. Naruto looked down. The trap broke when he took the next step. A squad of 6 charged from the left with lightning blades drawn. Naruto swung once. The slab hit the ground in front of them. The impact sent a wave through the courtyard stones, knocking all 6 into the air. Before they landed, Naruto was already past them. From the right, a Jonin formed hand signs. Lightning style, false darkness, a spear of lightning tore through the storm. Naruto turned his shoulder into it. The attack struck the armor and forced him back 1 step, then another. The black iron hissed. Naruto's ribs flexed under the impact. Something cracked. The armor corrected his posture. Naruto lifted his left hand. Chakra gathered, not easily, not cleanly. The armor did not amplify chakra. It did not help him mold it. It did not care about ninjutsu, seals, elemental balance, or the years of training that taught shinobi to turn spirit and body into technique. It read chakra as leakage, as heat escaping a damaged engine. Naruto had learned to catch that leakage. Residual chakra bled from the joints of the armor, especially when it took damage. It came out unstable, raw, mixed with pain and pressure. He could not make clones from it, could not weave it into elegant jutsu, but he could spin it. One-handed, without looking, the Rasengan formed in his palm. Smaller than it used to be, darker at the edges. The sight of it froze the lightning user. Naruto stared at the sphere. For half a second the red visor dimmed. A memory touched him. A water balloon bursting, Jiraiya laughing, his own voice shouting, "I did it!" The Rasengan trembled. The armor tightened around his wrist. The memory shattered. Naruto drove the Rasengan into the ground. The courtyard erupted. Stone buckled outward in a circular wave, collapsing trenches, breaking firing lines, and sending defenders sprawling. Naruto used the opening to move straight toward the inner keep. No strategy, no hesitation, forward. That was his combat language now, not deception, not teamwork, not clever timing. Forward. If there was a wall, he broke it. If there was a jutsu, he walked through it. If there was a shinobi, he put them down and moved on before their body finished falling. The armor liked simple things. Naruto was starting to fear that he did too. Inside the keep, the weapons ring had gathered its strongest fighters. There were 12 of them, 3 former Kumo-jonin, 2 missing nin from the mist, a sand puppeteer with metal-limbed constructs, a scarred woman with chakra-enhanced gauntlets, 4 mercenaries whose village origins were hidden under mismatched armor, and their leader, a man named Reiga Tetsun, not the famous swordsman from old bingo books. Just a man who had stolen enough lightning weapons to give himself a legend's name and enough followers to believe it. He stood on the upper platform of the keep central chamber, surrounded by storage seals and crates of stolen tools. His hair was tied back. His jaw was plated with metal from some old injury, giving him the Thunderjaw name he clearly enjoyed. A massive lightning cannon rested on his shoulder, its barrel fed by 3 chakra coils connected to his back. He smiled when Naruto entered. "You're smaller than the reports." Naruto stopped at the center of the chamber. Snow blew in behind him through the broken outer door. The mercenaries shifted around him, forming a loose circle. Reiga rested one hand on the cannon. "Do you understand who you're attacking?" Naruto said nothing. Reiga's smile sharpened. "We supply half the northern underground. Kumo wants us dead. Stone wants us useful. Mist wants to buy from us without admitting it. You think one armored freak with an oversized club changes that?" Naruto's head tilted. Reiga's expression twitched. "Answer me." Silence. One of the missing nin laughed nervously. "I heard he doesn't talk." Reiga spat to the side. "Then I'll make him scream." He fired. The lightning cannon roared. A concentrated blast struck Naruto square in the chest and drove him backward across the chamber. His boots carved trenches through the stone floor. The armor's chest plate flared with black heat as the blast continued, lightning crawling over every jagged edge. Naruto's body tried to fail. The armor refused. His knees bent, his spine locked, his fingers tightened around the slab. A rib broke, then another. The pain disappeared. The armor warmed further, almost hot. Naruto lifted his head. Reiga's smile faded. "No." Naruto stepped forward into the beam. The room changed. Every mercenary felt it at once. The sense that they had not angered a man, they had woken a mechanism. Naruto walked through the lightning, one step, then another. The cannon whined as Reiga pushed more chakra into it. Naruto kept coming. The armor's joints bled dark sparks. Residual chakra leaked from the seams, twisting around the gauntlets in thin blue-black strands. Reiga shouted, "Stop him!" The circle closed. Naruto moved. The sand puppeteer sent 3 metal constructs at him. Their bladed arms unfolded, aiming for joints in the armor. Naruto caught the first by the head and used it to smash the second. The third stabbed into his side. The blade slipped between plates. Naruto looked down. The construct tried to withdraw. Naruto's gauntlet closed around its arm and crushed the mechanism until chakra wires snapped like thread. The woman with gauntlets struck next, landing a clean blow against his jaw that should have shattered a normal skull. The helmet turned with the hit. Slowly, Naruto turned back. She whispered, "Oh!" He headbutted her, not hard enough to kill, hard enough to end the conversation. A mist shinobi filled the chamber with fog. Naruto stood still. For 1 second, all sound vanished, then he swung the slab in a full circle. The force displaced the fog, the air, and half the fighters trying to hide inside it. Bodies hit walls. Weapons scattered. The chamber groaned. Rhaegar cursed and leapt from the platform, drawing a lightning blade from his belt. He was fast, faster than most of the others. His blade flashed across Naruto's arm, then his leg, then the side of his helm. Each strike aimed at seams, gaps, weak points. A real fighter then, not only a thief. Naruto blocked the next strike with the slab. Lightning crawled along the iron. Rhaegar grinned. Conductive? The current surged through the weapon and into Naruto's arms. His muscles seized. For one breath, he could not move. Rhaegar stepped in close and drove a second blade toward the gap beneath Naruto's chin. The armor acted first. A spike unfolded from the collar plate and caught the blade before it reached skin. Rhaegar's eyes widened. Naruto's seized fingers moved anyway, slowly, wrongly. The armor forced them around the slab's grip despite the current. Naruto swung upward. Rhaegar released his weapon and jumped back, barely avoiding being split from hip to shoulder by blunt iron force. He landed on the platform railing, breathing hard. "What are you?" he whispered. Naruto finally spoke, one word, "Done." He threw the slab. Rhaegar fired the cannon at the same moment. The slab met the lightning blast halfway across the chamber. For an instant, the entire keep turned white. Then the slab punched through. It struck the cannon, crushed the barrel inward, and carried Rhaegar through the wall behind him into the storm outside. The chamber fell quiet. The remaining mercenaries stared at the hole, then at Naruto. One dropped his weapon, the others followed. Naruto stood among them, armor steaming, chest rising and falling too slowly. Contract objective complete. The armor cooled slightly, warm, not hot, still warm. He walked to the storage seals and placed one hand against the central crate. The broker's contract had specified destruction of stolen military-grade weapons. Naruto formed another Rasengan. It came slower this time. His fingers were damaged. Two refused to bend correctly. The chakra spun unevenly, wobbling in his palm. For a second, the blue light reflected in the visor. He almost remembered the taste of ramen, not the fact of it. The taste, salt, pork, miso, warmth, then it vanished. The Rasengan struck the crate. One by one, the storage seals detonated. Naruto walked out of the keep, while Thunderjaw's stolen weapons burned blue behind him. There was one survivor waiting at the outer gate, a Kumo Jonin, young, maybe 25. One arm hung uselessly at his side. Blood ran from a cut over his eye, but he stayed standing through sheer stubbornness. Naruto stopped. The Jonin raised his good hand slowly, empty palm out. "I'm not fighting." Naruto said nothing. The Jonin swallowed. "You're not one of them." Silence. "I don't know what they paid you. I don't care." The Jonin's voice shook despite his effort to steady it. "But those weapons were stolen from my unit. They killed my captain for them." Naruto looked past him at the burning fortress. The Jonin followed his gaze, then looked back. "What's your name?" The question entered the air like a thrown stone. Naruto went still. His name, the red inside the visor, shifted. Something moved beneath the armor, a boy on a swing. A classroom full of backs turned away. A hand reaching across an Ikaraku counter with a bowl of ramen. A man in orange and black shouting to the sky that he would become Hokage. His mouth opened. Nothing came out. The Jonin waited. Snow fell between them. Inside the second cage, Kurama's voice rumbled faintly. "Say it." Naruto's jaw tightened. The armor pressed against his throat, not choking, reminding names were attachments. Attachments were handles. Handles could pull. Naruto closed his mouth. He walked past the Jonin. The survivor did not stop him. Only when Naruto had disappeared into the snow did the man whisper, "Thank you." Naruto heard it. He did not turn around. Payment arrived 2 nights later. It came in the usual way. An unmarked scroll dropped beneath a dead cedar tree 10 miles from the nearest road. Triple rate. Clean coin seals. No message except a small broker mark confirming completion. Naruto took the scroll and continued walking. He did not count it. Money mattered only because it bought distance, supplies, and silence. He made camp in a hollow between 3 boulders, hidden from the wind. The armor loosened enough to let him sit, though never enough to let him forget its weight. His cloak lay beside him, torn from lightning strikes. The iron slab rested against the stone. He built a small fire with one working hand. The other had swollen inside the gauntlet. The armor had reset the broken fingers after the battle. That did not mean they were healed. It only meant they were straight enough to use. Uzumaki vitality did the rest, slowly knitting bone and tissue while the armor guarded the damage like a jealous thing. Naruto could heal faster than most people alive, but not like before. Before, his body had been a miracle. Cuts closed, bruises faded, broken bones became stories. Now healing felt like a debt collector working through a mountain of unpaid bills. Every fight left something behind, a stiffness in the shoulder, a tremor in the fingers, a delay between thought and movement, and something worse, gaps, small missing places inside his own memory, not the facts. The facts remained. He knew Team 7. He knew Sakura had pink hair and a sharp voice. He knew Sasuke had dark eyes and a colder kind of loneliness. He knew Kakashi read books in public and pretended not to care. He knew Jiraiya had taught him the Rasengan. He knew he loved ramen. But knowing was not the same as feeling. That was what frightened him. The feeling was disappearing first. Naruto sat by the fire and opened a ration pack, dried meat. Hard bread, salted beans he ate without interest. Then, from a pouch at his side, he pulled out a small packet he had bought from a village market 2 weeks earlier. Instant ramen, the cheap kind, chicken flavor. He had stared at it in the stall for almost 5 minutes while the vendor pretended not to notice the black gauntlet hovering above the basket. Now he boiled water in a dented travel cup and poured it over the noodles. Steam rose. Naruto held the cup close. He waited. The smell touched him. For 1 second, something inside him leaned forward, then nothing, no warmth. No hunger beyond the body's need, no memory of late nights on his apartment floor. No Uruka sitting across from him, no Chuchai smiling as he pushed a bowl across the counter, just steam, salt, noodles. Naruto stared at the cup, his grip tightened, the metal crumpled, hot broth spilled into the fire, hissing across the coals. Naruto did not move, the armor cooled around him as if satisfied. Inside the seal, Kurama spoke after a long silence. "You're losing pieces." Naruto looked at the ruined noodles, his voice was rough, "I know." "Do you?" Naruto did not answer, the fire crackled. Kurama's chakra pressed weakly against the black second cage. It could no longer flood him when emotions spiked, could no longer heal him freely, could no longer tempt him with power in the old way. In the beginning, Naruto had thought that was good. No fox rage, no red chakra taking over, no fear of hurting people because Kurama slipped through his anger. But the armor had not freed him from Kurama, it had replaced him. And unlike Kurama, the armor did not hate him, it did not mock him, it did not threaten to kill him, it simply used him. That was worse. Hatred had a face, hunger did not. Naruto leaned back against the boulder and closed his eyes. Sleep came in pieces. In one dream, he was standing at the Konoha gate, but the village beyond it was empty. In another, Jiraiya sat beside a fire, writing in a notebook, his back turned. Naruto tried to speak. The armor's helmet closed over his mouth. When he woke, the fire had burned low. There was a scroll beside it. Not his payment scroll, a new one, black paper, red cloud seal. Naruto stared at it. The armor warmed. Kurama went very still. Naruto picked up the scroll and broke the seal. Inside were only 7 words. "We know what you are wearing." Below that, another line, "We want to talk." Signed with a single name. Pain. Naruto read it once, then again. The paper did not smell like the ash market. It smelled like rain, old blood, and chakra too, controlled to be human comfort. Akatsuki. The name reached him through memory rather than fear. Cloaks with red clouds. Itachi Uchiha. Kasama, Deidara, Sasori, people who hunted Jinchuriki, people who would have hunted him even before the armor. Naruto lowered the scroll. The old Naruto would have reacted immediately, anger, defiance, a shouted promise. Maybe a dramatic speech to the empty trees about how he would never let them take him. The armored Naruto only considered direction. If Akatsuki had found him, distance was no longer enough. If they wanted to talk, they wanted something. If they wanted something, they would come. The armor liked that thought. Naruto did not. He stood. The fire died behind him. He strapped the iron slab across his back, tucked the black scroll into his pouch, and looked north through the trees. For the first time in 6 months, his path was not empty. Somewhere ahead, Akatsuki was waiting. Somewhere behind, Konoha still called him a containment failure. Somewhere inside, Kurama strained against a cage inside a cage. And between all of them walked the hollow maelstrom, not free, not captured, not human enough to go home, not monster enough to forget why he had left. Naruto stepped into the dark. The snow swallowed his footprints almost immediately. But the rumor of him kept moving. By dawn, the ash market would know Thunderjaw was gone. By noon, the brokers would raise his contract rate again. By nightfall, villages across the northern trade routes would whisper that a boy in black iron had walked through lightning and come out the other side. And far away, in a tower where rain never stopped falling, a man with ripple-patterned eyes read the same report twice. Pain lowered the paper. Conan stood beside him, expression unreadable. "He destroyed the weapons ring alone," she said. Pain looked out over Aimgakure. Rain traced lines down the glass. "The armor is awake," he said. Conan's eyes narrowed. "And the Jinchuriki?" Pain was silent for a long moment. Then he answered. "Buried beneath it." The rain fell harder. Pain turned from the window. "Send Kakuzu," and hidden. Conan looked at him. To recruit him? Pain's voice did not change. To measure him. Outside, thunder rolled across the city. And somewhere beneath a different storm, Naruto Uzumaki walked alone, carrying a weapon too heavy for anyone else to lift, wearing armor that did not let him feel pain, and slowly forgetting the taste of the one thing that had once made him feel human. Chapter 3. Old Faces Through a Red Visor, Arc Roman 2. The mercenary opening hook. Sakura said his name 3 times. He tilted his head like a dog hearing a sound it couldn't place. The ruins of Tanzaku Quarter had once been loud, not battlefield loud, human loud. Merchants shouting prices over one another. Dice cups rattling in gambling dens. Travelers arguing with innkeepers. Children chasing each other between food stalls while tired parents pretended not to smile. At night, lanterns had turned the whole district gold, and music spilled from doorways into streets that smelled of grilled fish, sake, rain, and dust. Now it was quiet, the kind of quiet that came after people stopped rebuilding. Half the rooftops had collapsed. Paper signs hung in strips from broken storefronts. Weeds grew through the cracks in the stone road. An old casino sign swung from one chain, creaking whenever the wind moved through the empty street. Kakashi Hatake stood on a roof at the edge of the district and watched the road below. Beside him, Sakura Haruno tightened her gloves. She had grown quieter in the months since Naruto vanished, not weaker, quieter. The old Sakura would have shouted her fear into anger and then into action. This Sakura had learned to hold fear in her hands like a medical instrument. Study it. Name it. Use it if needed. On Kakashi's other side stood Sasuke Uchiha, no headband, no village colors, just a dark cloak, a sword at his back, and eyes that refused to settle into anything as simple as guilt. Kakashi did not look at him. "You didn't have to come," he said. Sasuke's gaze stayed on the street. "Yes, I did." Sakura's jaw tightened, but she said nothing. That was the shape of Team 7 now, too many things unsaid, too many betrayals stacked on top of each other until blame became useless because everyone had some. Kakashi had found Sasuke 3 weeks earlier near the border of the land of rice fields. Not in Orochimaru's hideout, not under guard, not running missions, waiting. Sasuke had heard the rumors too, the hollow maelstrom, a black-armored mercenary carrying a weapon no normal shinobi could lift. No hand signs, no clones, no mercy for targets. No name. At first, Sasuke had dismissed it as underworld exaggeration. Then he heard about the one-handed Rasengan used at the Thunderjaw fortress. After that, he had left Orochimaru without ceremony, not because he had returned to Konoha. Not because he had forgiven anyone, but because Naruto belonged to him in a way hatred could not explain, rival, annoyance, measure. Anchor, the one person who kept reaching no matter how many times Sasuke cut the line, and now something else had taken him. That was unacceptable. Kakashi glanced at Sakura. "You're sure about this?" Sakura's fingers brushed the small thermos hanging from her belt. "No, honest, better than brave," Kakashi nodded. "We don't attack first." Sasuke's mouth twitched. "If he attacks first? Then we survive first and save him second." Sasuke finally looked at him. "You still think saving him is possible?" Kakashi did not answer immediately. Below them, dust moved at the far end of the street, slow, heavy, rhythmic, step, drag, the sound of iron scraping stone. Kakashi's visible eye narrowed. "I have to." Naruto entered Tanzaku Quarter like a storm that had forgotten how to hurry. A gray cloak hung from his shoulders, torn at the edges and stiff with road dust. Beneath it, black armor shifted with each step. Jagged plates caught the weak afternoon light. Spinal ridges rose beneath the cloth like the back of some sleeping beast. The iron slab rested across his back. Every time its lower edge brushed the road, sparks jumped. He had not come to the ruins for them. That much was clear. Kakashi had arranged the intercept using information from the ash market, but Naruto's path had already been set. He was moving through the quarter because it was empty, because empty places did not ask questions, because ruins were easier than villages. He stopped in the center of the main road. His helmet turned slightly. He knew they were there. Kakashi stepped off the roof first and landed in the street without a sound. Sakura followed, landing 10 paces to his left. Sasuke landed to the right, 3 points around the center. Team 7 arranged like a memory trying to become a trap. Naruto did not reach for his weapon. He did not speak. He only stood there. The visor faced Kakashi first, then Sakura. Then Sasuke. The motion was slow and precise, like an animal deciding which movement mattered most. Kakashi lifted one hand, palm open. "Naruto." No reaction. The name hit the street and died there. Sakura swallowed. "Naruto." The helmet turned toward her, not recognition, attention that was worse. Sakura forced herself not to step back. "It's us." Naruto's breathing sounded wrong through the helm, low, metallic, not quite human. Sasuke's fingers twitched near his sword. Kakashi noticed. "Sasuke, I know." But Sasuke's eyes had sharpened. Naruto noticed too. The armor noticed more. A faint pressure moved through the street. Dust shifted around Naruto's boots. The air grew tight, as if the ruins themselves were holding their breath. Kakashi spoke again. "We're not here to take you back by force." That earned nothing, no anger, no disbelief, nothing. Sakura's eyes stung despite herself. Months ago, Naruto would have responded to that with a shout. Maybe an accusation, maybe a grin too wide to hide the hurt. Now he only watched. Kakashi took one careful step forward. The tribunal was wrong. Naruto's head tilted, small, sharp. The movement stopped Kakashi cold, because there it was, a response, not to apology, not to guilt, to tribunal. The armor remembered threats better than names. Kakashi lowered his hand slowly. Tsunade fought against it. Jiraiya fought against it. At Jiraiya's name, Naruto's left hand flexed. The gauntlet creaked. Sakura saw it and felt hope flare painfully in her chest. Sasuke saw it too. "You remember him," Sasuke said. Naruto turned toward him. Sasuke stepped forward before Kakashi could stop him. "You remember dying teachers, but not your own name." "Sasuke," Sakura warned. Sasuke ignored her, his voice cut sharper. "What happened to all that shouting, all those promises? You chased me across half the world because you wouldn't let me go. Now you're the one hiding inside a shell." The armor warmed, not visibly, but Kakashi felt the shift in killing intent like heat off a forge. "Sasuke," he said, lower this time. Sasuke drew his sword halfway. "Come on, loser." The word hung between them, old, familiar, a stupid insult from another life. Naruto's visor fixed on him. For 1 second, nobody moved. Then Naruto took one step forward. The stone cracked under his boot. Sakura moved between them, not fast enough to startle, not aggressively, just enough. "Naruto." The visor shifted to her. Her hand trembled as she reached for the thermos at her belt. Kakashi understood and almost told her not to, but the mission was already beyond tactics. Sakura unscrewed the cap. Steam rose into the cold air. Miso broth. Simple. Warm, salty, not a weapon. Not a seal. Not a jutsu. A memory. She held it out with both hands. No speech. No dramatic plea. Just the smell of something close enough to home that even ruins seemed to soften around it. Naruto froze. Completely, not like a fighter assessing, like something inside him had been struck. The red glow behind the visor flickered. Sakura's breath caught. "Naruto," she whispered for the third time. His hand moved slowly. The black gauntlet lifted from his side. Kakashi did not breathe. Sasuke's sword slid a fraction farther from its sheath, then stopped. Naruto reached toward the thermos. The armor resisted. They all saw it. The fingers trembled, not with weakness but conflict. The gauntlet creaked as if an invisible force pulled against his own movement. Sakura held steady. The visor flickered again. For 3 seconds, the red haze dimmed. Through the narrow eye slit, they saw blue, not the cold, reflected blue of metal, his blue. Naruto's eye. Sakura's mouth broke into something almost like a smile and almost like a sob. "There you are," she whispered. Naruto's fingers hovered inches from the thermos. Then the world screamed. A chain shot through the ruined storefront behind Sakura. Kakashi moved instantly, pulling her back as a massive hooked blade tore through the space where her arm had been. Sasuke drew his sword fully. Naruto's visor snapped red. The moment died. From the rooftop opposite them, Hidden laughed. "Or did we interrupt something emotional?" He stood with his triple-bladed scythe resting over one shoulder, silver hair bright against the gray sky, Akatsuki cloak fluttering around him like a bad joke told at a funeral. Below him, Kakuzu stepped through the broken front of an old gambling house, his stitched body half hidden beneath his cloak. Green eyes studied Naruto first, then the others. "Team 7, Kakuzu said. "Convenient," Hidden grinned. "See, I told you this would be fun." Kakashi's hand went to his forehead protector. Sakura slipped the thermos back onto her belt, jaw tight. Sasuke's Sharingan awakened with a red flicker. Naruto did not look at them anymore. His entire body had turned toward Akatsuki, threat. Kakuzu noticed. So that is the armor. Hidden hopped down from the roof and landed in the street, spinning his scythe. "Doesn't look like much. Creepy, sure, but I was expecting bigger." Naruto reached back. The cloak tore as he drew the iron slab. It came free with a sound like a grave opening. Hidden blinked. "Okay, that's bigger." Kakuzu's threads shifted beneath his skin. "Do not damage the armor more than necessary." Hidden laughed. Yeah, bring him back mostly alive. I heard the speech." Kakashi spoke low to Sakura and Sasuke. "Do not get between them." Sakura looked at him sharply. We can't help if we're dead." Sasuke's eyes stayed on Naruto. He's not waiting for permission. Naruto moved. There was no warning burst, no hand sign, no shout. One instant he stood in the center of the street. The next he was in front of Hidden. The slab came down. Hidden barely twisted aside. The weapon struck the road and split the stone in a line that ran from one side of the street to the other. Hidden's grin widened. "Oh, I like you." He swung the scythe. Naruto did not dodge. The blade scraped across his chest plate, sparks bursting from black iron. The chain wrapped around Naruto's arm. Hidden yanked. Naruto did not move. Hidden's grin twitched. Naruto pulled back once. Hidden flew off his feet and slammed through the wall of a ruined shop. Kakuzu attacked immediately. His arms split open, black threads surging like living wires. They wrapped around Naruto's legs and torso, anchoring into the ground, nearby pillars and broken walls. Naruto took one step. The threads stretched. Kakuzu's eyes narrowed. More threads burst out, reinforcing the bindings. Naruto took another step. The ruins groaned. Kakashi watched closely. No chakra burst. No fox cloak. The armor was not enhancing him the way a Biju cloak would. It was forcing the body past refusal. Every movement looked possible only because the armor had decided broken limits did not matter. Sakura saw it too. Her medical training turned the horror into details. The angle of his shoulder was wrong. His left knee carried too much stress. The way his wrist flexed around the slab meant at least 2 fingers had healed badly. "He's hurting himself every time he moves," she said. Kakashi's voice was grim. "No, the armor is letting him move anyway." Hidden climbed out of the rubble laughing, dust covering his cloak. "That actually hurt," he sounded delighted. Naruto turned his head toward him. Kakuzu used the opening. A mask emerged from his back, its mouth opening wide. Fire-style, searing migraine, flames roared down the street. Kakashi grabbed Sakura and leapt back. Sasuke vanished to a rooftop. Naruto disappeared inside fire. For several seconds, the only sound was burning wood and collapsing beams. Hidden whistled. "Hope you didn't cook the prize." Then the fire moved, not parted, moved. Naruto walked out of it. His cloak was gone. The armor was fully visible now, jagged and black, glowing faintly at the seams where heat crawled over it. The helm's beast-like visor burned red. The iron slab dragged behind him. Kakuzu's threads tightened. Naruto lifted his free hand. Residual chakra bled from the armor's wrist joint, spinning unevenly into a Rasengan. Kakashi's visible eye widened. Sakura whispered, "He can still use it." Sasuke stared from above, expression unreadable. The Rasengan was wrong, smaller, darker, less alive, but it was still his. Naruto drove it into the bundle of threads around his torso. The impact shredded the bindings and blasted Kakuzu backward through 2 stone pillars. Hidden charged from the side. "Now we're having fun." He threw the scythe chain low, aiming to hook Naruto's legs. Naruto stepped on the chain. Hidden stopped mid-pull. "Oh!" Naruto grabbed the chain, wrapped it around his gauntlet, and yanked Hidden forward. Then he punched him. Hidden hit the ground hard enough to crater it. He laughed once, coughed, and laughed again. "Immortal," Hidden wheezed. "So good luck with." Naruto raised the slab. Hidden's eyes widened. Kakashi moved before thinking. "Yamero!" The word cut through the street. "Stop." Naruto paused. The slab hovered above Hidden. For one impossible second, Kakashi thought Naruto had heard him. Then Kakuzu struck from behind with a wind-enhanced blast that slammed Naruto through the street and into the remains of a stone archway. The slab fell beside Hidden instead, crushing the ground inches from his head. Hidden stared at it, then slowly looked at Kakuzu. "Little warning, next time?" Kakuzu ignored him. "Naruto Uzumaki," he said, voice flat. "Pain requests your presence." Naruto rose from the rubble, one shoulder hung lower than before. The armor corrected it with a sound Sakura wished she had not heard. His head snapped back into place. Kakuzu continued. "Come willingly, and Akatsuki will not pursue your former teammates." Former, the word did what threats had not. Naruto's visor turned slightly toward Team 7, former teammates. Kakashi felt something colder than fear. Sakura stepped forward. "Naruto, don't listen to him." Sasuke jumped down beside her. "Akatsuki doesn't get to claim him either." Hidden sat up, cracking his neck with a grin. "Everybody wants the scary armor boy. Touching." Kakuzu raised one hand. The remaining masks emerged fully from his back. Fire, wind, lightning, pressure built in the street. Kakashi uncovered his Sharingan. "Sakura. Support only. Sasuke, left flank." Sasuke did not argue. For one brief moment, old formation returned. Kakashi in front. Sasuke cutting angles. Sakura watching openings. Naruto at the center. Except now the center was not theirs. It was the thing they were all trying not to lose. Kakuzu unleashed combined fire and wind. The attack became a roaring storm that tore through the main street, lifting tiles, beams, and dust into a burning spiral. Kakashi countered with a water wall. Sasuke cut through the edge with lightning. Sakura shattered falling debris with precise punches. For a second, Team 7 survived together. Then Naruto charged through all of it. He did not coordinate. He did not wait. He went straight for Kakuzu. The combined jutsu struck him from the side and scorched across the armor. Naruto staggered, then kept moving. A faint dark thread unspooled from the base of his spine. Kakashi saw it. A tail, not Kurama's chakra, something else. Black-red energy, thin and unstable, lashing behind the armor like smoke given teeth. Sakura saw the same thing. "Kakashi-sensei, I know." The armor was waking deeper. Naruto swung the slab at Kakuzu. Kakuzu split apart into threads, avoiding the full strike, but the shockwave caught one of his masks and smashed it against a wall. It cracked and dissolved into black threads. Kakuzu's expression changed, not fear, calculation. This level already. Hidden came in from behind Naruto again, scythe aimed at the gap near the back of the knee. Sasuke intercepted him. Sword met scythe in a spray of sparks. Hidden grinned at him. "Uchiha Kid, you're worth money too." Sasuke's Sharingan spun move. "Make me?" They clashed across the broken street, Hidden laughing with every exchange. Sasuke's strikes were precise, cold, economical. He was faster, but Hidden was reckless in a way that made normal swordplay dangerous. He took cuts he should have avoided and used the openings to force Sasuke back. Sakura moved to support, but a blast of fire cut her off. Kakashi engaged Kakuzu directly, Reikiri flashing in his palm. For several chaotic minutes, the ruins of Tanzaku Quarter became a battlefield again, but Naruto remained the center of it. Kakuzu tried binding him. Naruto broke the threads. Hidden tried cutting him. Naruto ignored the blade. Kakashi tried redirecting the fight away from Naruto's blind spots. Naruto walked through his strategy as if Kakashi were not there. Sakura shouted his name twice more. No response. Sasuke, bleeding from a shallow cut along his cheek, finally kicked Hidden backward and turned toward Naruto. "Dobe!" The word cracked through the battle. Naruto stopped, only for half a breath, but Sasuke saw it, so did Kakashi, so did Kakuzu. Kakuzu immediately exploited it. A lightning mask fired point-blank into Naruto's back. Naruto was driven to one knee. The black energy tail lashed violently. A second tail began to form. Sakura's eyes widened. "He's escalating." Kakashi shouted, "Sasuke, don't provoke him!" But Sasuke was already moving, not toward Kakuzu, toward Naruto. He slid under a thread strike, vaulted over broken stone, and landed in front of the armored figure as Naruto pushed himself upright. Sasuke's voice lowered. "Look at me!" Naruto's visor fixed on him. Sasuke pointed his sword at Naruto's chest. "You don't get to disappear like this. Not after everything you said to me." The armor's gauntlet tightened around the slabs. Sasuke did not move. "You dragged me back from the edge once, annoyed me, chased me, screamed at me like an idiot." The second tail flickered. "I hated you for it." Naruto stepped closer. Sasuke's Sharingan held steady, but I remembered it. For a moment, the red visor dimmed at the edge, not enough, but something. Then Hidden scythe chain wrapped around Sasuke's sword arm from behind. "Bad timing, pretty boy." Hidden yanked. Sasuke twisted, but the pull dragged him off balance. Naruto moved, not toward Hidden exactly, toward the interference. The slab struck the ground between Sasuke and Hidden, breaking the chain with pure force. The shockwave threw Sasuke backward into Sakura, who caught him with a grunt. Hidden stared at the broken chain. "Hey, that was expensive." Naruto turned on him, the second tail fully formed. Kakuzu's voice cut through the street. "Hidden, withdraw." Hidden looked offended. "We just got started. That was not a request." Kakuzu had already lost one mask, another was damaged. The mission had been to measure the armor, not die testing it. Hidden spat to the side. "Fine. But I'm calling dibs next time." Naruto lunged. Kakuzu's threads erupted around Hidden and pulled him back just as the slab came down. The impact destroyed half the street where he had been standing. Smoke and dust swallowed the space. When it cleared, Kakuzu and Hidden stood on a distant rooftop. Kakuzu looked at Naruto, then at Team 7. "This is not over." Hidden cupped his hands around his mouth. "Hey, armor guy, next time I'm taking a piece of you for Jashin." Naruto's second tail lashed. He crouched. For one terrifying second, Kakashi thought he would chase. Then Sakura moved. She stepped in front of him again, not close enough to touch, close enough to be seen. "Naruto?" The tails stilled. Kakuzu watched with interest. Then he and Hidden vanished into the ruined skyline. The battlefield settled. Dust fell, broken signs swung in the wind. Sakura stood before the armored figure with her hands open. Sasuke slowly pushed himself upright behind her. Kakashi remained ready, every muscle tense. Naruto's breathing rasped through the helm. The second tail flickered, then faded. The first followed. The armor cooled. Naruto lowered the slab. Sakura let herself hope again. "Come with us," she said softly. "Not back to a cell, not to the council, just with us." Naruto looked at her. The visor stayed red. Sakura reached again for the thermos. Her fingers had just touched it when Naruto stepped back, one step, then another. "No," Sasuke said. Naruto turned away. Sasuke started forward. Kakashi caught his shoulder. "Don't." Sasuke tried to pull free. "Let go. You chase him now, he'll treat you like pursuit." Sasuke froze. Because Kakashi was right. Sakura's hand fell from the thermos. Naruto, he did not turn around. He walked through the broken street past burned stalls and shattered stone toward the northern road. Step, drag, step, drag. The sound became quieter, then disappeared. Team 7 stood in the ruins long after he was gone. Sakura wiped at her face angrily. "I saw him," she said. "For a second I saw him." Kakashi nodded. "I know." Sasuke stared at the road Naruto had taken. "He didn't fight them to protect us." Neither Sakura nor Kakashi spoke. Sasuke's voice was quieter when he continued. "He fought them because they were in his way." A long silence followed. Then Sasuke said the thing they were all afraid to say. "That's not Naruto." Kakashi looked down at the street. Near his boot, something had fallen during the battle. A tiny drop of broth from Sakura's thermos had spilled onto the dust. Steam no longer rose from it. Kakashi closed his eye. "No," he said softly, "but Naruto is still inside." Sasuke looked at him. Kakashi's voice hardened. "And now Akatsuki knows it too." Far north of Tanzaku Quarter, Naruto stopped beneath a dead tree as evening settled over the road. He did not know why he stopped. His body had damage. The armor had not fully repaired his shoulder. His ribs ached despite its efforts to bury the pain. His hands shook until the gauntlets tightened. But that was not why. Something lingered. A smell, miso, warm broth. Sakura, the name surfaced without shape, not memory exactly, more like a light behind fog. Naruto lifted one hand toward his visor. For a second, his fingers hovered near the release seam beneath the helm. The armor tightened. His hand stopped. Inside the second cage, Kurama's voice came faintly, not raging now, not mocking, tired. "Kid, I can still see you." Naruto stood very still. The wind moved through the dead branches above him. Kurama pressed closer to the bars within bars. "Don't go further." Naruto's hand lowered. For a moment, the red inside the visor dimmed, just a little. Then the armor breathed. The red returned. Naruto turned north and kept walking behind him. The ruins of Tanzaku Quarter faded into darkness. Ahead of him, rain waited. And somewhere in that rain, Pain had learned the most important truth about the hollow maelstrom. The armor could break bodies. It could bury chakra. It could silence pain, suppress Kurama, and turn Naruto's own strength into a weapon against him. But it had not erased everything. Not yet. A name still reached him. A smell still stopped him. A bowl of ramen, a rival's insult, a friend's voice, small human things, fragile enough to crush in one hand, and powerful enough to make the monster hesitate. Chapter 4. The Six Paths Cannot Hold the Seventh Arc. Roman 3. The monster opening hook. Pain had rewritten the definition of God for three nations. The hollow maelstrom rewrote the definition of pain. Aimgakure did not sleep. It endured. Rain fell over the village in endless silver lines, tapping against metal rooftops, sliding down tower walls, dripping from pipes, bridges, cables, and rusted walkways. It filled every silence. It blurred every distance. It turned the whole city into a cage made of water and steel. People said the rain was normal, a weather curse, a country's grief, a natural punishment for too many wars fought on the same soil. But the people of Aimgakure knew better. The rain watched. It listened. It remembered the shape of every stranger who crossed the border and the sound of every footstep that did not belong. And tonight, the rain found something it did not understand. Far beyond the outer towers, at the broken road leading into the lower industrial district, a figure in black iron walked through the storm. No cloak, no disguise, no attempt to hide. The rain struck the jagged plates of the armor and hissed into steam where old battle heat still lived beneath the metal. The massive iron slab dragged behind him, carving a line through mud and standing water. Each step was slow, heavy, certain. Naruto Uzumaki entered Aimgakure like he had entered every place since Konoha, as if the world in front of him was only something to be crossed. High above, hidden inside the tallest tower, Nagato opened his eyes. His real body sat thin and fragile in the shadowed chamber, surrounded by chakra receivers, machines, and the quiet presence of Konan. His hair hung around his face, his ribs showed beneath pale skin. But his eyes were not weak. The Rinnegan saw through rain, through bodies, through distance. Through the 6 corpses he used as hands, Nagato watched the armored figure walk through the lower gate and felt something he had not felt in years, not fear, interest. "Pain?" Konan asked. Nagato did not immediately answer. The Diva Path stood at the edge of a high platform overlooking the city, rain running down its orange hair and black cloak. Through those eyes, Nagato watched Naruto move deeper into aim. "He came alone," Konan said, as expected. "To accept the invitation," Nagato's gaze narrowed. "No." Below, 3 aim guards stepped from behind a sealed checkpoint, weapons raised. Their voices were firm but nervous. "Identify yourself." Naruto did not stop. By order of Lord Pain, identify. The guard's sentence ended when Naruto walked past him, not struck, not killed, simply ignored. One guard grabbed Naruto's shoulder. The armor reacted before Naruto did. A black gauntlet caught the man's wrist and pushed him back with controlled force. The guard flew across the road and crashed into a pile of empty barrels, alive but finished. The other 2 froze. Naruto kept walking. Konan watched from beside Nagato's chair. "He is not here to talk." Nagato's voice remained calm. "No, he is here because we are in front of him." Konan looked at the rain-slick window. "And if we move—" Nagato's eyes did not leave the armored figure. "Then he will keep walking until something else stands in his way." Naruto did not know why he had come to Aimgakure. That was not entirely true. He knew the practical reasons. Akatsuki had sent the scroll. Kakuzu and Hidden had measured him. Pain had offered words with no warmth behind them. The underworld had begun whispering that the leader of Akatsuki wanted the hollow maelstrom captured, recruited, or dissected, depending on which drunk mercenary was telling the story. A threat existed. Naruto moved toward it. That was what the armor understood. But beneath that, deeper than the iron and red haze, there was something else. Pain. The name bothered him, not because of fear, because the word belonged to him now. It had become the language of his body. The thing the armor swallowed for him, the thing it stored somewhere dark and used as fuel. Every broken finger, every cracked rib, every wound he did not feel in battle returned later as proof that the armor did not erase suffering. It delayed it with interest. So when Akatsuki's leader called himself Pain, something inside Naruto turned toward the sound. Not curiosity, recognition. The streets of Aim closed around him. Buildings rose on both sides, tall and narrow, their windows dark. Pipes ran like exposed veins between towers. Steam vents coughed white clouds into the rain. Bridges crossed overhead, their railings lined with silent figures pretending not to watch. Naruto could feel eyes everywhere. The armor warmed. Kurama shifted inside the second cage. The fox had been quiet since Tanzaku Quarter. Too quiet. Naruto had learned that Kurama's silence meant either fury or fear. These days, it was often both. "This place is wrong," Kurama muttered at last. Naruto did not answer. The rain carries chakra. Every drop. "He's already touching you." Naruto stopped. Rain slid down his helmet. For one moment, he lifted his head toward the sky. The armor examined the water. Threat not enough. It lowered his head again, forward. Kurama growled, "You heard me." Naruto's voice emerged low through the helm. "I heard." "Then leave." Naruto continued walking. Kurama slammed against the black bars over his cage. "Brat, no response." "Brat, no response." Then, softer, almost unwillingly, "Naruto." The step faltered, only slightly. Enough for the armor to tighten around his spine, enough for Naruto's jaw to clench beneath the helmet. The name had weight. Less than before. More than nothing, rain fell harder. At the end of the road, 6 figures appeared. They stood spaced across the wide industrial bridge leading into the central district. 6 orange-haired bodies in black cloaks patterned with red clouds. 6 faces marked with chakra receivers. 6 pairs of ripple-patterned eyes looking at him as one. Pain. The Diva Path stood in the center. His voice carried through the rain without effort. Naruto Uzumaki. The armor went still. It did not like the name. Names pulled, names reminded, names made the body hesitate when it should move. Naruto stared at the 6 bodies. The Diva Path continued. You have suffered at the hands of your village. You have been named a weapon, hunted by those you protected, and forced into loneliness by people too afraid to understand power. The rain tapped against iron. I know that path. Naruto said nothing. Pain raised one hand slowly. The armor you wear is not a curse if given purpose. Akatsuki can give you that purpose. Walk with us. Help us end the cycle that created you. For a moment, the words reached farther than they should have. A village that feared him, a council that buried him, war after war. Children turned into containers, tools, symbols, sacrifices. Pain spoke the language of injury well, but injury was not trust. The armor shifted. Naruto's gauntlet tightened around the iron slab. Pain's expression did not change. I see. The animal path stepped forward. So be it. The first summoning seal opened beneath the bridge. A massive multi-headed dog burst from smoke and rain, its jaws snapping, claws tearing through metal grating as it charged. Its body split and multiplied even as it moved, 3 heads becoming 6, 6 becoming more. Naruto looked at it. The armor warmed, not hot. Warm, Tier Roman 3 had not begun yet. The dog lunged. Naruto swung the slab sideways. The impact launched the creature across the bridge and through a pipe tower. Metal screamed. Steam exploded. The beast hit the ground below and split into more bodies, each one rising with renewed hunger. The animal path lifted another hand. A giant bird summoned itself above the towers and dived through the rain like a living blade. The Asura Path's arms unfolded with mechanical precision, weapons emerging from flesh. The Preta Path moved to Naruto's left, the human path to his right. The Naraka Path remained back, silent, patient. The Diva Path watched. Pain did not rush, he tested. Naruto understood tests only as obstacles. The bird struck from above. Naruto planted the slab, caught one talon against the flat of the weapon, and let the force drive him into the bridge deck. Metal buckled beneath his boots. His left knee twisted. Pain vanished behind the armor's command, damage ignored, position corrected. Naruto grabbed the bird's leg with one hand and pulled. The creature crashed into the bridge hard enough to split the walkway. Before it could rise, Naruto drove a Rasengan into its chest. The unstable sphere detonated, blasting feathers, smoke, and summoning chakra into the rain. The Preta Path appeared behind him and seized Naruto's wrist. Chakra absorption began. For an instant, the Rasengan forming in Naruto's palm vanished. The Preta Path's expression remained blank. Then the armor reacted. Black pressure surged from Naruto's joints, not chakra exactly, not natural energy, not anything the Preta Path was built to drink. The corpse body stiffened. Its hands began to smoke. Nagato's real eyes narrowed in the tower. Interesting. The armor did not amplify chakra, it bypassed it. The Preta Path could absorb chakra, it could not absorb the armor's command over broken flesh. Naruto drove his forehead into the path's face. The Preta Path flew backward. The Asura Path fired. Missiles tore through the rain, glowing red at the tips. Naruto crossed both arms before him. The explosions swallowed the bridge. From the tower, Konan watched the smoke bloom. Did that damage him? Nagato's voice was quiet. Yes. The smoke moved. Naruto stepped out. His armor was scorched. One shoulder plate hung cracked. A strip of black iron along his ribs had been torn away, revealing blood-dark fabric beneath. He kept walking. Nagato finished his thought. It did not stop him. The Diva Path lifted his hand. Shinra Tensei. The invisible force hit Naruto like a falling mountain. He was thrown backward across the bridge, through two support pillars and into the wall of an empty factory. The impact caved the metal inward around him. For the first time since entering AIM, Naruto stopped moving. Rain filled the silence. Hidden would have laughed. Kakuzu would have calculated. Team 7 would have held their breath. Pain only waited. Inside the factory wall, Naruto's body hung half-buried in twisted steel. His ribs were broken. His right shoulder had dislocated. 3 fingers on his left hand pointed wrong. The armor assessed. Damage unacceptable for continued forward motion. Correction required. Iron spines unfolded from the inside of the armor. Naruto's body jerked. A sound escaped him, not a scream. The armor did not allow that much waste. His shoulder snapped back into place. His fingers reset. His ribs were braced from the outside by tightening plates. Pain disappeared behind function. Naruto dropped from the wall and landed on his feet. Kurama's voice shook the inner darkness. "It's going to kill you before they do." Naruto breathed once, twice, then stepped back onto the bridge. The animal path summoned the centipede. It rose from smoke and rain, longer than the road itself, armored plates scraping towers on both sides. Its mandibles opened wide enough to swallow a cart whole. Naruto walked toward it. The centipede lunged. He did not dodge. He caught one mandible with his left hand and one with his right. The force drove him back across the bridge. His boots carved twin trenches through the metal. The armor heated. Warm became hot. Something dark unspooled from the base of his spine, one tail. Not fox chakra, not red. Black energy edged with a dull crimson glow, lashing through the rain like a wound in the air. Pain's 6 bodies watched. The diva path spoke through rain and distance. The armor responds to pressure. Naruto pulled. The centipede's mandibles cracked. The creature thrashed. A second tail began to form, thinner than the first, unstable. Naruto roared. It was not the fox's roar. It was not entirely human. He tore the summoned creature apart. The centipede dissolved into smoke before the remains could hit the bridge, but the motion continued. Naruto's momentum carried him forward, straight through the cloud, straight toward the animal path. The path jumped back. Too late. Naruto's slab caught it across the torso and threw it through a tower wall, one body down. The Naraka path moved. A strange, kingly apparition rose behind it, mouth opening, ready to repair what had been broken. Kakashi, if he had been there, would have understood the priority immediately. Naruto did not, but the armor did. The Naraka path represented restoration. Restoration meant enemies returning. Enemy returning meant forward motion disrupted. Naruto changed direction with brutal force, his injured knee twisting again beneath the armor's correction. He launched himself at the Naraka path. The human path intercepted. Its hand reached for Naruto's helmet, soul extraction. For 1 second, its fingers touched the beast-like visor. The world inside Naruto's mind split open. The human path found a soul, but not a simple one. It found a boy buried beneath iron. A fox sealed beneath a second cage, a storm of pain suppressed but not gone. A scrap of orange cloth pressed against a heart that refused to fully stop being human. And behind all of that, the armor, not alive, not dead, a hunger shaped like protection. The human path froze. Kurama saw the opening. For the first time since the armor bound him, the fox laughed. It was not a happy sound. Nobody touches what's in here but me. Kurama slammed against the cage. The human path staggered. Naruto grabbed its arm and threw it into the Naraka path. Both crashed through the bridge railing and fell to the lower district below. Pain's expression finally shifted. A slight narrowing of the eyes, not fear, adjustment. The Asura path's head opened. A massive chakra cannon began charging. The diva path lifted his hand again. Shinra Tensei. The force struck Naruto from the front just as the Asura cannon fired from the side. The combined impact buried him. The bridge gave way. Metal screamed downward as half the structure collapsed into the factory district below. Dust, rain, steam, and wreckage rose in a thick cloud. Pipes ruptured. Water poured from broken channels. Sparks flashed in the haze. For 47 seconds, nothing emerged. Pain counted. Not because he needed to, because gods measured the silence after judgment. 10 seconds. 20. 30. Below the wreckage, Naruto lay under tons of broken steel and stone. His body had no right to move. The armor disagreed. One gauntlet shifted, pinned. It pushed. The weight did not move. The armor tightened every plate along Naruto's arm, shoulder, spine, and chest. Bone bent. A fracture opened. The armor ignored it. Naruto punched upward. The strike moved a piece of stone half an inch again, another inch again, again, no roar, no curse, no dramatic surge of chakra. Just repetition. A fist rising through impossible weight because the armor had reduced survival to a command. Above, the diva path looked down into the dust. Conan, watching through paper scouts, whispered from the tower, "He's still moving." Nagato's thin fingers tightened on the armrest of his chair. "I know." The wreckage jumped, once, twice. Then a black gauntlet burst through the top of the collapsed bridge. 3 fingers pointed at wrong angles. They curled anyway. Naruto pulled himself out of the rubble. Rain struck his armor and ran in dark streams down the plates. One tail lashed behind him, then a second, then a third. The air changed. Even the rain seemed to hesitate before touching him. In the streets below, civilians hiding behind steel shutters began praying to a god who was already on the battlefield. Naruto stood. The red visor burned brighter than before. Kurama's voice came distant and strained. "Kid, stop!" Naruto did not hear him, or heard and could not obey. Full Tier Roman 3 had begun. The diva path landed on the broken edge of the bridge. "Your suffering is immense," Pain said. Naruto's head snapped toward him. Pain continued. "But without purpose, suffering becomes nothing but destruction." The 3 tails whipped behind Naruto. Pain raised both arms. "I will give it meaning." Naruto launched. The diva path used Shinra Tensei again. This time, Naruto drove the slab into the ground mid-flight. The repulsive force hit him. The slab anchored. Stone shattered around it. Naruto's arms nearly tore from their sockets. The armor grew spines along his shoulders and locked him in place. He slid backward, but not far enough. The 5-second interval began. Naruto moved during it. Pain's eyes widened slightly. Naruto crossed the distance. The slab came up. The diva path leaned back, avoiding the full strike, but the edge of the shockwave tore through his cloak and cracked 2 chakra receivers along his arm. The Asura path leapt in from the side. Naruto kicked it through a wall. The Preta path grabbed his back. Naruto slammed backward into a pillar until the corpse stopped moving. The animal path, restored once already by Naraka before its destruction, attempted another summoning. Naruto seized its hand before the seal completed. The armor tails coiled around the path like smoke chains. Then the slab fell. The animal path shattered into the road, second body down permanently. The Naraka path crawled from rubble below, damaged but functional, trying to reach the fallen bodies. Sakura would have healed allies. Naruto destroyed the healer. He descended on the Naraka path with such force that the ground caved beneath them both. When he rose, the apparition behind it flickered and vanished, third body down. The human path approached from behind, faster than expected. Its hand reached for the back of Naruto's helmet. Sasuke would have noticed. Kakashi would have countered. Naruto did not. Kurama did. The fox gathered what little chakra he could push through the second cage and slammed it against Naruto's awareness. "Naruto!" The name struck like lightning. Naruto turned. The human path's fingers scraped across the visor instead of locking on. Naruto's free hand caught its throat and drove it headfirst through the road. Fourth body down. Only Asura, Preta, and Diva remained active. The Asura path rose one last time, body opening into weapons. Naruto threw the iron slab. It spun once through the rain and hit the Asura path with enough force to carry it across the street, through a tower base, and into darkness. Fifth body down. The Preta path tried to absorb the residual chakra leaking from Naruto's joints again. This time the armor was too hot. The path's hands burned black at the contact. Naruto grabbed the chakra receivers embedded in its chest and ripped them free. The Preta path collapsed, sixth body damaged beyond immediate use. The Diva path stood alone. The rain fell between them. For the first time, Pain looked at the hollow maelstrom without speaking. Naruto turned toward him. Three tails moved like living shadows. His body was broken in more places than a normal human could survive. The armor held him together, not gently, not mercifully. It used pain as architecture. Pain lifted his hand. The 5-second interval had passed. Shinra Tensei? The force erupted. Naruto crossed his arms and took it. The blast drove him backward through the street, through a support column, through the front of an empty warehouse. But he remained upright. The Diva Path's arm cracked from the strain. Naruto emerged again. Step, drag, step, drag. For the first time, the Diva Path retreated, not fleeing, repositioning. But the movement was enough. High above, Nagato whispered to Konan, "He is not fighting us." Konan looked at him. Nagato's eyes remained fixed on the armored figure below. "He is walking toward something we cannot see." Konan's paper wings unfolded slightly. "Do we continue?" Nagato closed his eyes for half a second. He had learned what he needed. The armor could resist absorption. It could survive repulsion. It could override damage. It could be provoked into deeper states. And Naruto Uzumaki was still somewhere inside it because the name had turned him. That was the most dangerous information of all. The Diva Path raised one hand, not to attack, but to signal retreat. Rain thickened. The damaged paths vanished one by one into the storm through concealed channels, carried by mechanisms, summons, and paper slips hidden across the city. Naruto lunged toward the Diva Path. Konan intervened. A wall of paper rose between them, reinforced with chakra and rainwater, folding into layered shields. Naruto's fist punched through the first 6 layers, the 7th, the 8th. The Diva Path escaped through the gap between buildings. Naruto burst through the paper wall a second too late. He stood in the empty street, 3 tails lashing, visor burning, no enemy in front of him, no target, no direction. The armor searched threat, none close enough, forward. Where? The question broke something. Without an enemy to define him, Naruto simply stopped. The tails flickered. The first vanished, then the second, then the third. The armor cooled from hot to warm, warm to cold. The pain came back. Naruto dropped to one knee in the rain. His breathing turned ragged inside the helm. 4 hours disappeared from his memory in advance, though he did not know that yet. The battle would become fragments later. Orange hair, rain, falling metal, a word like God, and the feeling of punching upward through a mountain that refused to move. His hands trembled. The gauntlets tightened for once, not enough. Naruto fell forward, catching himself on one hand. Rainwater pooled beneath his visor. Inside, Kurama pressed against the black cage, voice low, "You almost didn't come back from that one." Naruto did not answer. He was not sure he could. In the tower, Nagato exhaled slowly. Konan stood beside him, watching the paper scouts dissolve. "We lost 5 bodies," she said. "They can be replaced. The city cannot take another battle like that." "No." Nagato looked toward the rain-blurred lower district where Naruto knelt among broken streets and collapsed steel. "The armor is not merely a weapon. It is a prison that teaches the prisoner to call movement survival." Konan's expression remained unreadable, but her voice softened. "And Naruto?" Nagato was silent for a long time. Then he said, "He is still alive." The words sounded less like mercy than calculation. Konan understood. Pain had not failed. He had measured the monster, and the measurement terrified even him. Naruto remained in the rain for 12 minutes. He did not count them. The city did. From behind shutters, people watched the black armored figure kneel in the ruined street while rain poured over him. No one approached. No one shouted. Even Aim's soldiers kept their distance, waiting for orders that did not come. Finally, Naruto rose, slowly, badly. His left leg nearly failed beneath him. The armor locked the knee. His right shoulder hung for half a second before plates shifted and forced it into place. He walked. Not toward the tower, Not toward the hidden route the diva path had used, north, always north. At the edge of the ruined district, he passed a child hiding beneath an overturned cart. The child was maybe 6 years old, wide eyes, hands clamped over his mouth. Naruto stopped. The armor looked down. Threat, no. Obstacle, no. Memory, something stirred. A boy on a swing, lonely, hungry, hated for something sealed inside him. The red visor dimmed, just a fraction. The child trembled harder. Naruto's hand moved toward the pouch at his belt. For 1 second, Kurama went still. Naruto pulled out a small packet of field rations. He stared at it, as if unsure what it was. Then he dropped it beside the cart. The child did not move. Naruto walked away. Behind him, the child waited until the iron footsteps faded before reaching for the packet. No one in Aimgakure would include that in the official reports. No broker would pay for it. No village would build a legend around it, but the child would remember. Not the hollow maelstrom, not the monster in black armor who broke Pain's city. A stranger who had stopped being a monster long enough to leave food behind. By nightfall, Naruto had left Aim's border. He did not remember crossing it. He did not remember the rain thinning. He did not remember killing no one after the battle, despite the armor still burning for enemies. When he finally became aware of himself again, he was sitting beneath a stone overhang miles from the village, the iron slab beside him and his helmet partially open to the cold air. His entire body hurt, not sharp pain, deep pain. Old pain made new. He looked at his hands. The gauntlets were still on, of course they were. He tried to remember why his fingers ached, nothing. He tried to remember the fight, rain, orange hair, a dog with too many heads, a voice saying his name, then blankness. 4 hours gone. Naruto leaned back against the stone, his breath shook. Kurama spoke from the cage inside the cage. 3 tails. Naruto closed his eyes. The fox continued, not mine. The armors. Naruto's jaw tightened. You lost time, I know. Do you? Naruto opened his eyes. For once there was anger in them that belonged to him. What do you want me to say? Kurama's chakra shifted behind black bars. I want you to stop pretending walking forward is the same as surviving. Naruto laughed once. It sounded empty. Surviving is all I have. Kurama did not answer immediately. When he did, his voice was quieter. No, it is all the armor wants you to have. Naruto stared into the darkness beyond the overhang. Rain still fell far behind him, a curtain over a city ruled by a god who had looked at him and seen something useful. Konoha had seen a weapon. The underworld had seen a mercenary. Akatsuki had seen a tool. The armor saw a body. Naruto wondered, not for the first time, whether there was any place left in the world that would look at him and see a person. Then he remembered blue eyes reflected in Sakura's tears. Sasuke's voice saying, Dobe, Kakashi shouting for him to stop, miso broth in ruined air. For a moment the armor felt colder, not weaker, but less certain. Naruto reached into the broken edge of his chest plate and touched the scrap of orange cloth hidden beneath. Still there, he held it until his hand stopped shaking. Far away, beyond rain and mountains, something watched him through a Sharingan projection. A masked man stood on the branch of a dead tree, one eye glowing red in the dark. Tobai's voice, playful and false, did not speak this time. The voice beneath it did. Older, sharper. Madara Uchiha smiled behind the mask. Interesting, he murmured. The projection shimmered as he watched Naruto sit beneath the stone overhang, broken and breathing, alive where no Jinchuriki should have survived. The armor chose well. His smile widened. It always finds the loneliest ones. Naruto did not hear him. Kurama did not sense him. The armor, perhaps, noticed something at the edge of the world, but there was no immediate threat, no obstacle, no command. So the hollow maelstrom sat beneath the overhang until dawn, missing 4 hours of his life. Carrying 3 new fractures, the armor refused to let matter, and holding a scrap of orange cloth like it was the last proof that Naruto Uzumaki had ever existed at all. Chapter 5, The Great Nations Draw the Line, Arc Roman 3. The Monster Opening Hook, 5 Cage, 1 Emergency Summit. 1 agenda item, not Akatsuki, not war, a boy in black iron that none of their intelligence networks could track. and none of their shinobi could survive. The first report arrived in Konoha as rainwater still dripped from Naruto's armor somewhere beyond the borders of Aimgakure. It came by hawk at dawn. The message was sealed 3 times, once with a border intelligence mark, once with a medical urgency tag, once with a black wax symbol used only when the content of a report could destabilize village command. Tsune'd read it alone. She had dismissed Shizune before breaking the final seal. That was how Shizune knew it was bad. The Hokage's office was quiet except for the soft creak of the windows and the faint rustle of parchment. Outside, Konoha was waking. Merchants opened shutters. Genin teams gathered near training fields. Children ran late to the academy. Life moved forward with the cruel ease of things that had not been asked to stop. Tsune'd stood behind her desk. She read the first page, then the second. By the third, her hand tightened enough to crease the paper. By the fourth, she sat down, not because she was tired. Because if she remained standing, she might break something that could not be replaced. The report was not official intelligence from Aimgakure. No one got official intelligence from AIM unless Pain wanted them to have it. This came from border merchants, defected scouts, black market brokers, and one terrified courier who had seen the lower industrial district after the battle. 6 bodies of Pain engaged, 5 destroyed or rendered non-functional, major structural collapse in outer districts. No confirmed civilian massacre. No confirmed death of the armored target. The hollow maelstrom left the battlefield alive. Tsune'd read that line 3 times. Alive. That should have been relief. It wasn't. The report included damage estimates, witness accounts, and one detail that made her blood go cold. 3 chakra-like appendages observed from armor. Not 9 tails chakra signature. Unknown origin. Tsune'd slowly lowered the page. Naruto had escalated again, not Kurama, the armor. Whatever that thing was, it was learning how to express itself through him. A knock came at the door. Tsune'd did not answer. The door opened anyway. Kakashi stepped inside. For once, he did not have a book in his hand that told her more than his face did. "You got it too," she said. Kakashi nodded. "Sakura's with the medical team. She's comparing the Tanzaku residue samples with the AIM report." "And Sasuke?" "Gone." Tsune'd looked up sharply. Kakashi's eye was tired. He left before dawn. "After Naruto?" "No," Kakashi paused. "After answers." Tsune'd leaned back in her chair. A headache pressed behind her eyes. For years, she had believed the hardest part of being Hokage would be choosing who to send into danger. She had been wrong. The hardest part was knowing when the village itself had become the danger. "An emergency summit has been called," she said. Kakashi's gaze shifted. "By who?" "All of them." That was enough. The 5 great nations did not gather quickly unless something had frightened them past pride. Akatsuki had not been enough. Border raids had not been enough. Missing nin movements had not been enough. But Naruto had walked into Aimgakure and broken 5 bodies of Pain. That was enough. Kakashi stepped closer. "What are they calling him?" Tsune'd looked at the report again. There were many terms in the margins. Asset, unaligned Jinchuriki, armor host, catastrophic rogue combatant, potential Biju-level mercenary. She hated all of them. "The hollow maelstrom," she said. Kakashi closed his eye. For a moment neither spoke. Then Tsune'd said the words that had been sitting between them for 6 months. "We did this." Kakashi did not answer quickly. That was one thing she still respected about him. He never rushed past guilt just to make someone feel better. Finally, he said, "The council voted. I was in the room. You voted no," and stayed in the chair after it passed. Kakashi's expression did not change, but his silence did. Tsune'd looked down at her hands, hands that could split stone, hands that could restart a heart, hands that had not reached Naruto in time. "The Reikage wants coordinated extermination," she said. "The Mizukage wants containment if possible. The Tsuchikage thinks he can be purchased. The Kazekage requested all Jinchuriki-related intelligence before making a position." "Gaara," Tsune'd nodded. He asked for Naruto's name in the official meeting documents. Kakashi's eye opened slightly. Tsunade gave a humorless smile. Everyone else used title classifications. Gaara wrote one sentence back. She slid a second note across the desk. Kakashi picked it up. The Keizuki's handwriting was neat and controlled. His name is Naruto Uzumaki. If this summit forgets that, it will fail before it begins. Kakashi read it once, then folded it carefully and placed it back on the desk. "When do you leave?" he asked. "Within the hour. I'm coming." "No." Kakashi met her gaze. Tsunade's voice hardened. "I need you here. If the council moves while I'm away, I need someone who remembers what Naruto looks like without a threat label attached." Kakashi understood. He hated that he did. "And Sakura, she stays too. If Sasuke returns, she needs to be here." Kakashi nodded slowly. At the door he stopped. "Tsunade-sama." She looked at him. "What if the summit decides to kill him?" Tsunade's mouth became a thin line. "Then they had better hope Naruto doesn't hear about it first." The summit was held in neutral territory, not the land of Iron's capital, too public, not a hidden village, too political. Instead, the 5 Kage gathered in an old mountain fortress used during the last Great War as a prisoner exchange site. The place had been built for distrust. Thick walls, narrow corridors, no easy approach, samurai guards at every gate, seals layered into the stone to prevent surprise attacks, eavesdropping, summons, and most forms of underground movement. It was the kind of building leaders used when they wanted to say they trusted each other while proving they absolutely did not. The Raikage arrived first, a storm in human shape. A tower of muscle, rage, and lightning barely contained by formal robes he clearly hated wearing. Darui stood behind him, expression bored in the way only exhausted people could manage. C stood to the side, already scanning for hostile chakra patterns. The Tsuchikage arrived second, floating above his guards with his arms folded and his back complaining louder than his mouth. "An emergency summit for one boy," Anoki muttered. "The world gets softer every decade." The Mizukage arrived third, quiet and watchful, with Ao and Chijuro behind her. Her face remained calm, but her eyes missed nothing. Gaara arrived fourth. He looked younger than everyone else at the table and somehow less uncertain than any of them. Temari and Kankuro walked behind him, both alert, both aware that their Keizuki had not come as a neutral party. Tsunade arrived last. That was deliberate, not to show disrespect. To remind them she was still Hokage of the village that had created the crisis. The meeting chamber was circular, stone-walled, and bare except for the central table. No flags, no village symbols, only 5 seats, 5 guards' positions, and a ceiling high enough for suspicion to breathe. The samurai commander opened the summit with formal words. No one cared when he finished. The Raikage slammed one fist onto the table. "Enough ceremony, we all know why we're here." The table cracked slightly. Anoki clicked his tongue. "Still solving diplomacy with furniture, I see." The Raikage ignored him. The armored Jinchuriki destroyed a Kumo weapons ring, broke through Akatsuki combatants, and survived direct engagement with Pain. He is unaligned, unstable, and moving across borders without permission. This is not a missing nin problem. This is a disaster waiting for geography. Mei Terumi folded her hands. "Your proposed solution?" "Coordinated strike force. 5 nations. Eliminate the threat before it escalates." Gaara's eyes hardened. "His name is Naruto." The Raikage looked at him. "Names don't matter if he can level a town. They matter most then." The room went quiet for a second. Tsunade did not look at Gaara. If she did, she might break. Anoki leaned forward. "We are assuming elimination is possible. That may be optimistic. The reports from AIM suggest he destroyed multiple bodies of Pain, not minor Akatsuki agents." "Pain," Mei nodded slightly. "And yet he did not remain in AIM. He did not occupy it. He did not hunt civilians. His movement pattern suggests target response, not conquest." The Raikage's eyes flashed. "Tell that to the people whose streets he collapsed." Mei's voice stayed level. "I am not defending the damage. I am classifying behavior. There is a difference." Anoki waved one hand. "Behavior can be shaped. If the boy takes contracts, then he understands payment. Give him a better contract. Use him." The temperature in the room changed. Tsunade finally spoke. No. Everyone looked at her. Her voice was quiet. That made it worse. You will not weaponize him. The Raikage let out a hard laugh. Konoha already did. You just lost control. Tsunade's chair scraped back half an inch. Darui shifted. Temeri's fan hand moved slightly. The samurai guards tensed. Tsunade did not shout. I said no. The Raikage leaned forward. Then explain to this summit why the Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails is wearing unknown cursed armor, taking murder contracts, and fighting Akatsuki in foreign territory. Tsunade held his gaze, because Konoha failed him. The admission landed heavier than denial would have. Even Anoki stopped smirking. Mei's expression softened by a fraction. Gaara looked down at the table. Tsunade continued. A classified tribunal voted to place Naruto Uzumaki in permanent suppression confinement beneath the village. He overheard. Root attempted retrieval. Jiraiya died protecting his escape. The Raikage's rage shifted direction. Root! Yes! Danzo! Tsunade's jaw tightened. He was central to the proposal, Anoki sighed. That old vulture again. Mei's eyes narrowed. You allowed the vote. Tsunade took the hit because she deserved it. I lost it. Gaara spoke softly, and after you lost, Tsunade's hand curled on the table. I did not stop them fast enough. No one spoke for several seconds. That was the first honest silence of the summit. Then the Raikage broke it. Tragic. Still doesn't change the problem. No, Tsunade said. It explains the shape of it. Gaara lifted his head. Naruto does not attack unless approached as a threat. The Raikage snapped. You know that how? Because I was like him. The room stilled again. Gaara's voice did not rise. I was made into a weapon before I understood what a person was. I know what isolation does. I know what happens when everyone looks at you and sees risk before humanity. The sand in his gourd shifted faintly. Naruto was the first person who refused to see me that way. The Raikage's expression did not soften, but he stopped interrupting. Gaara continued, If you send armies, he will become the monster you fear. Anoki tapped a finger against the table. And if we send nothing, then we find the person inside before the armor finishes burying him. The Tsuchikage snorted. Pretty words? Accurate ones, Mei said. Anoki looked annoyed that she had agreed. The Mizukage turned to Tsunade. What do we know about the armor? Tsunade opened the file before her. Not enough. It does not behave like a chakra cloak. It suppresses the Nine Tails rather than channeling it. It appears to override biological limiters and maintain movement through severe injury. Every major engagement shows increased manifestation. Manifestation? Mei asked. Appendages, tails, dark energy constructs, not Kurama's chakra. The Raikage folded his arms, so it is evolving. Yes, Tsunade said, and it is costing him. That made Gaara look at her sharply. Tsunade forced herself to continue. Medical analysis from field residue suggests repeated skeletal trauma, fractures reset under external pressure. Tissue damage hidden by armor stabilization. Uzumaki healing is present but slowed. If this continues, the body may survive longer than the mind. Anoki's face darkened. You're saying the armor will leave us with a berserker wearing a human corpse. Tsunade did not flinch. Yes. That was when the summit truly understood. Not because they cared more about Naruto than their villages. Most of them did not. But leaders understood timelines. A rogue mercenary could be tracked. A Jinchuriki could be sealed. A cursed armor host deteriorating into a Biju-level disaster could not be ignored. The Raikage placed both hands on the table. Then we move before that happens. Gaara's sand shifted again. Move how? Elimination remains the cleanest option. Tsunade's chakra flared. The room shook. No. The Raikage stood. You don't get to say no after your village caused this. Tsunade stood too. And you don't get to pretend killing him is strategy because it sounds simpler than saving him. Lightning flickered around the Raikage's shoulders. And when he destroys a border town? When he walks through one of my patrols because they happen to be in his way? When he takes a contract against a daimyo? Tsunade's voice dropped. You'd need to want to kill Naruto more than he wants to die. The words cut through the room. The Raikage's lightning faded slightly. Tsunade looked at each of them, And he doesn't want to die. That's the part you don't understand. Her eyes burned. He's already given up on living. Gaara closed his eyes. Mei looked away. Even Anoki said nothing. Tsunade sat down slowly. So if you send a kill squad, understand what you are really doing. You will not be fighting ambition. You will not be fighting conquest. You will be fighting a boy whose body has been turned into a battlefield and whose pain has nowhere left to go. Her voice became colder. And pain with nowhere to go does not surrender. Sasuke found the answer in a corpse merchant's ledger, not the kind of answer he wanted, the kind that made everything worse. The ledger belonged to a black market scavenger who collected fragments from battlefields touched by rare jutsu. Most of his goods were useless. Broken kunai from famous fights, burned cloak scraps, chakra-stained stones sold to collectors too rich and stupid to know better, but one entry mattered, black iron shard. Recovered from Tanzoku quarter, not chakra metal, reactive to blood, cannot melt, cannot seal, buyer interest high. Sasuke had taken the merchant apart piece by piece, not physically. He did not need to. A Sharingan stare, one sword pressed against the desk, and a voice colder than the mountain air had been enough. The shard was small, no bigger than a coin. It sat wrapped in 3 layers of paper seals, all of them scorched around the edges. Sasuke placed it on the table in front of him inside an abandoned inn outside the land of iron. The shard pulsed once, not with chakra, with recognition. Sasuke's eyes narrowed. He had seen where it came from. During the Tanzaku battle, when Naruto had turned towards Sakura's thermos, a seam on the armor's chest had shifted. Not much. A fraction. But Sasuke had watched closely because watching closely was what he did when emotion made everything else useless. The seam was not decorative. It was structural. A binding point. Now the shard confirmed it. The armor was not one solid shell. It was linked through anchor plates. Break the right anchor and the rest might loosen. Might, Sasuke hated that word. Might was for people who had time. Naruto did not. Sasuke leaned back and closed his eyes. In his mind, he replayed Tanzaku, Naruto's stance, the armor's reaction speed, the position of the chest seam, the way it tightened when Sakura reached him, the way it flared when Akatsuki attacked. If he could get close enough, Chidori might pierce it. Not a normal strike. A concentrated thrust at the seam while the armor was under emotional strain or high activation. Enough lightning chakra to disrupt the binding. Enough precision to avoid Naruto's heart. Maybe, or it would fail and Naruto would crush him before he could withdraw. Or it would work and the backlash would kill them both. Sasuke opened his eyes. "That's inconvenient," he muttered. A voice from the doorway answered. "You always did complain when the obvious answer was suicidal." Sasuke's sword was in his hand before the last word finished. Tsunade stood outside the broken-in room, arms folded, cloak damp with snow from the mountain road. Sasuke lowered the sword slightly, not fully. Hawkage, missing Nin. His mouth twitched. Still using that? Still accurate. She entered without asking permission and looked at the shard on the table. Her expression changed. "You found armor residue?" Sasuke did not answer. Tsunade stepped closer but did not touch it. How? By looking where everyone else was too busy panicking. "Careful. You almost sounded like Kakashi." Sasuke's eyes narrowed. Tsunade sighed. "What did you find?" "A seam." That got her full attention. Sasuke pointed to his own chest. "Here, slightly left of center. The armor overlaps, but not perfectly. When Sakura used the ramen broth, it opened for a second. Not physically open, but the plates separated." Tsunade's voice sharpened, because Naruto reacted emotionally. "Yes, and you think you can break it. I think I can hit it." "That isn't the same thing." "I know." Tsunade studied him. There had been a time when she would have seen only arrogance in Sasuke Uchiha. Now she saw something more dangerous, resolve without self-preservation. It was a trait Team 7 seemed to share like an inherited disease. "What happens if you miss?" Sasuke shrugged. "He kills me." "What happens if you hit it and you're wrong?" "He kills me slower." "And if you're right?" Sasuke looked at the shard, the armor cracks. Tsunade waited. He did not continue, so she did. "And Naruto?" Sasuke's jaw tightened. "I don't know." Tsunade closed her eyes briefly, at least he was honest. I need you at the summit. No, that wasn't a request. I don't care. Tsunade's eyes opened. Sasuke, his gaze snapped to her. The summit wants options, she said. Right now, the loudest option is extermination. The room went still. Sasuke's grip tightened around his sword. Tsunade saw the reaction and pressed. If you have a theory that gives us another path, you bring it to the table. They won't listen. They will if I make them. And if they still don't, Tsunade's voice hardened, then I need to know what you plan to do before you do something stupid enough to make Naruto worse. Sasuke looked away for a moment. He looked almost young, almost like the boy Naruto had chased. I'm not trying to kill him. I know. That surprised him. Tsunade stepped closer. But Naruto in that armor may not know, and if he reads you as a threat, sentiment will not save you. Sasuke said nothing. Tsunade lowered her voice. How many times can he escalate? Sasuke looked at her. I think he has 2. Tsunade's face went pale. Sasuke continued, not battles, not normal fights. 2 full high-level activations, maybe less. The armor grows every time something forces him beyond pain. At Tanzaku, 2 tails. Aim, 3. If it reaches whatever comes after that too many times, he stopped. Tsunade finished. He doesn't come back. Sasuke nodded. That's why I need the seam. Tsunade stared at the shard. Outside, the wind pushed snow against the broken windows. Finally, she said, "Come with me." Sasuke's eyes narrowed. To the summit? Yes. I'm not standing in front of the 5 cage like a loyal Konoha shinobi. Good. Nobody would believe it. He almost smiled. Almost. Tsunade turned toward the door. But you will stand there as someone Naruto once refused to abandon. Sasuke remained still for a long moment, then he sheathed his sword. Fine. Tsunade did not look back, but her shoulders eased by a fraction. Behind them, the black iron shard pulsed once more. Naruto sat beside a frozen river and watched his reflection fail to match him. The river had not fully frozen. Water moved beneath the ice, dark and slow, visible through cracks in the surface. Snow gathered along the banks. Pines stood around him like silent witnesses. He had chosen the place because it was empty, or because the armor had chosen it. He no longer always knew the difference. His helmet was open. Cold air touched his face. He looked thinner than he remembered. That was strange because his body had grown stronger in terrible ways. His shoulders were broader beneath the armor. His arms could swing a weapon that no ordinary person could lift. His legs could carry him through battle after battle without rest. But his face belonged to someone being consumed from the inside. The whisker marks on his cheeks looked sharper. His eyes were still blue, but the color seemed farther away, as if looking out from the bottom of deep water. Naruto lifted one gauntleted hand. The reflection lifted with him, but not exactly. For 1 second, the reflection in the ice did not wear armor. It was just him. Orange jacket. Messy blonde hair. A grin that looked too bright to be real. Naruto froze. The reflected boy looked up at him with an expression Naruto could not understand, not accusation, not fear, sadness, maybe, or pity. Naruto hated it. His fist came down. The ice shattered. Water splashed upward, cold against his face. The reflection broke into pieces and vanished beneath the current. Naruto's breathing turned harsh. Inside him, Kurama shifted. You could have looked longer. Naruto stared at the broken ice. No. Afraid, Naruto's jaw tightened. The old Kurama would have said it with cruelty. This Kurama said it like a tired observation. Naruto did not know which was worse. He stood. His knees hurt. The armor corrected the movement before the weakness became visible. He hated that too. "What do you want from me?" he asked. Kurama's massive shape moved behind the cage inside the cage. "I want you to stop letting that thing decide when you feel pain." Naruto gave a bitter laugh. "That's the only useful thing it does. Pain is information, brat. Pain is all I have." Kurama's eyes narrowed in the darkness. "No. Pain is all it lets you count." Naruto turned away from the river. The conversation followed him anyway. "You forgot ramen." Naruto stopped. The words hit harder than they should have. Kurama continued, "Not the word, not the picture. The taste. You tried to remember and crushed the cup instead." Naruto's hand closed slowly. The gauntlet creaked. "Stop." You forgot Sakura's voice until she put food in front of you. I said stop. You forgot your own name when that Kumo brat asked for it. Naruto spun toward nothing, rage flashing hot and human. I know, the shout echoed through the trees. Snow slid from branches. For a second, the armor warmed in response to anger. Naruto felt it, felt the way it welcomed the emotion as fuel. He forced himself still. That was harder than fighting. The armor did not like stillness. Kurama's voice lowered. Then understand what is happening. It is not taking everything at once. It is taking the feelings first, leaving facts behind so you think you are still whole. Naruto's breath shook. I can't take it off. Not alone. The words hung there. Naruto looked toward the north. Who would help me? Kurama did not answer quickly. Then, grudgingly, the pink-haired girl tried. Naruto's eyes flickered. A thermos, steam, miso, blue sky through a red visor. Sasuke tried too. Kurama added. Naruto's mouth tightened. He drew a sword. That is how Uchihas say they care. Despite himself, Naruto almost laughed. Almost. The armor tightened around his chest, as if offended by the motion. The almost laugh became a cough. Naruto started walking. The frozen river disappeared behind him. But for the first time in days, he did not head north immediately. He turned slightly east, not toward Konoha, not yet, never that. But toward roads where people might leave messages. Toward places where old names could still find him. The summit nearly broke when Sasuke entered. The Raikage stood so fast his chair hit the wall. You brought an Uchiha criminal into this meeting? Sasuke looked at him without expression. You're loud. Lightning exploded around the Raikage. Darui muttered. Not helpful. Tsunade stepped between them. He has relevant intelligence. The Raikage pointed at Sasuke. He has a bounty. So do half the people discussed in this room, Anoki said dryly. Sit down before your blood pressure becomes the sixth cage. The Raikage glared at him. May looked at Sasuke with careful interest. Gaara simply watched him. Sasuke placed the black iron shard on the table. Every sensor in the room reacted. C took a step back. Ao's Byakugan activated. Gaara's sand rose slightly. Even the samurai guards felt the pressure and shifted their hands to their swords. The shard sat there, small and ugly and heavier than it should have been. Sasuke spoke. This came from the armor. Tsunade added, recovered from Tanzaku Quarter. Sasuke continued. It reacts to blood and emotional disturbance. It cannot be sealed by normal means. It is not chakra metal. It has binding points. Anoki leaned closer despite himself. Binding points? Sasuke touched his own chest. The main seam is here. I saw it separate when Naruto reacted to Sakura. The Raikage's eyes narrowed. You expect us to plan strategy around a sentimental moment? Yes, Sasuke said. The simplicity of it annoyed everyone. Gaara leaned forward. Explain. Sasuke looked at him. The armor suppresses pain. It suppresses chakra pathways. It suppresses Kurama. But it reacts badly to old emotional memory. Not new persuasion, not speeches. Specific attachments from before it bound him. Tsunade nodded slowly. Ramen, names, Team 7, Jiraiya. Sasuke's face tightened at the last name, but he continued. If the armor destabilizes during one of those moments, the seam opens. A precise lightning strike may break the anchor. May, the Raikage said. Sasuke looked at him. Yes. The Raikage barked a humorless laugh. So your plan is to walk up to a Biju-level cursed armor host, make him emotional, and stab him in the chest with lightning. Sasuke's face remained blank. That is the clean version. Darui sighed. I hate that it's probably better than the other plans, May studied Sasuke. And the risk to you? Hi, to Naruto? Sasuke was silent. Tsunade answered for him. Unknown. Anoki floated higher. This is madness. Gaara said it is also the first option that treats him as recoverable. The Raikage crossed his arms. And what if recovery fails? No one answered, because the answer was obvious. If recovery failed, the world would do what it always did. It would call a boy a disaster and send stronger people to end him. The Raikage sat slowly. I will not commit Kumo forces to a rescue mission based on nostalgia. Tsunade's eyes hardened. Then commit them to not making the situation worse. May nodded. That much I support. No unauthorized engagement unless he attacks civilian centers first. Anoki grumbled. And if he enters our borders, evacuate, Gaara said. The Tsuchikage stared at him. Gaara's voice was calm. If he enters your borders and you send elite shinobi to stop him, they will become pressure. Pressure escalates the armor. Escalation brings destruction. Evacuate civilians, track from distance, do not engage. The rakage looked like the words physically pained him. You're asking 5 nations to step aside for one boy. No, Gaara said. I am asking 5 nations not to turn one boy into the end of a town. Silence followed. The samurai commander finally spoke. Then the summit position is as follows. Surveillance, evacuation protocols, no unilateral kill order, continued investigation into armor separation, and open communication if the target approaches major population centers. The rakage's mouth twisted. For now. Tsunade accepted that because it was the best she was going to get. Sasuke picked up the iron shard. The moment his fingers touched it, the shard pulsed. He felt the armor's hunger like a whisper against his bones. For 1 second, he saw Naruto through memory, not the armored figure. The idiot on the hospital roof, grinning with a Rasengan in his palm. The boy at the Valley of the End, screaming his name like giving up was a crime. The friend he had tried to cut away. Sasuke wrapped the shard again. I'll need one more thing, he said. Tsunade looked at him. What? Sasuke's answer was quiet. Ramen. Naruto found the scroll at sunset. It waited at his campsite as if it had always been there. That alone should have made him suspicious. His camps were not random, but they were not easy to predict either. He chose empty places, broken places, areas with no reason for anyone to come. This one sat beneath an old stone shrine at the edge of a pine forest. Its roof collapsed under snow, its offerings long gone. And there, on the flat stone before the shrine, lay a single scroll. No trap seals, no chakra signature, no Akatsuki mark, just paper tied with red string. The armor warmed. Naruto stood over it for a long time, then he picked it up. The handwriting inside was familiar, not elegant, not official, a little rushed, a little sharp, a little like someone who had written while angry enough to break the brush but careful enough not to. Ramen. North Gate. Ikaraku rebuilt. Come home, no signature. Naruto stared at the words. The forest became very quiet. His thumb brushed the ink. Come home. The armor tightened, not violently, defensively. The red haze flickered around the edges of his vision. Home was a dangerous word. Home had gates. Home had walls. Home had tribunals beneath towers and old men who used words like containment. Home had Jiraiya dying in a corridor because Naruto had been too slow, too weak, too stupid to understand how badly the village could fear him. His gauntlet creaked. The scroll began to crumple. Then he stopped. Ramen. North Gate. Ikaraku rebuilt. A smell rose in memory, not strong, not complete. But there, steam. Miso, pork. A bowl placed in front of him like proof that he was allowed to take up space. Naruto's breath caught. Inside the second cage, Kurama went utterly still. The armor pressed harder around Naruto's chest. His hand shook. This time, the gauntlet did not stop it. Naruto folded the scroll carefully, once, twice, small enough to fit. Then he pulled open the broken edge of his chest plate and tucked it beside the scrap of orange cloth, against his heart. The armor resisted. He forced it. For 1 second, black iron and human will fought over a piece of paper. Human will won by an inch. The scroll slid into place. Naruto lowered his hand. He did not turn toward Konoha, but he did not keep walking north either. He sat beside the ruined shrine until the sun disappeared and the first stars came through the cold sky. No fire, no food, no contract scrolls. Only the sound of wind moving through pines and the faint pressure of 2 memories under his armor. Orange cloth, ramen note. Proof that someone had known where to aim. Hours later, when moonlight touched the snow, Naruto spoke into the silence. Kurama. The fox opened one eye behind the cage. What? Naruto looked toward the south. His voice was rough. If I go back, Kurama waited. Naruto's jaw tightened. If I go back and they try to cage me again. Kurama's tails shifted in the dark. Then I will help you break the cage. Naruto closed his eyes. The armor cooled, not much, but enough. For the first time in 6 months, Naruto slept without walking farther north before dawn. Far away, the summit ended without resolution. That was how political victories usually looked. No one apologized enough. No one agreed completely. No one left satisfied. But no kill order was signed. No army was sent. For one fragile night, the world chose not to make Naruto's situation worse. Tsunade returned to Konoha with Gaara's support, Mei's cautious cooperation, Anoki's reluctant silence, and the Raikage's warning that if the hollow maelstrom crossed into Kumo territory and endangered civilians, Kumo would respond. It was not mercy, but it was time. And time was the only currency Naruto had left. Sasuke did not return with Tsunade. He left separately, carrying 3 things: the black iron shard, a scroll containing medical diagrams of the armor's suspected binding points, and a sealed container from Ikaraku. Chuchai had prepared it without asking questions. Ayame had tied the lid herself. When Sasuke took it, she looked at him with eyes red from crying and said only one thing: "Don't bring back a hero." Sasuke had looked at her, confused despite himself. Ayame's voice had trembled. "Bring back the boy who always asked for extra noodles." Sasuke carried the container in silence after that. By morning, he was gone from the road, following tracks only he could read, chasing someone who had once chased him. In a place no summit knew about, beneath a sky without stars, Madara Uchiha listened to reports and smiled. Not Tobai's false smile, not the foolish spiral masked performance he used for lesser minds, his real smile, the kind that belonged to someone watching a trap close exactly as designed. Black Zetsu emerged from the earth beside him. The cage did not authorize elimination. Good. White Zetsu tilted his head from the other side. Isn't that bad? If they kill him, no more problem. Madara looked toward the distant north. Though there were mountains and nations between him and Naruto, they were never going to kill him. White Zetsu blinked, but they might have tried. Yes, Madara's eye gleamed, and if they had, they would have fed the armor too crudely. Too much pressure too soon can break a vessel before it matures. Black Zetsu's voice was low. The armor has reached 3 tails. I know. Pain failed to retrieve it. Pain succeeded in measuring it. White Zetsu scratched his head. I don't get it. Do we want Naruto or the armor? Madara's smile widened. Yes. Neither Zetsu spoke. Madara continued. The 9 tails was always valuable, but a Jinchuriki who has lost faith in villages, whose beast is suppressed, whose body can be pushed beyond death, whose soul is being carved open by grief. He paused. That is not merely a host. Black Zetsu understood. A lock. A perfect one. Madara's gaze sharpened. The infinite Tsukuyomi requires a moon, an eye, a world willing to sleep, but every plan needs an anchor, something that can hold pain, rage, memory, and chakra without collapsing. He looked toward the north again. The Berserker armor was not buried for Naruto by accident. White Zetsu's mouth opened. You put it there. Madara did not answer directly. Decades ago, I learned that some weapons choose only broken wielders. So I arranged for one to sleep where the loneliest Jinchuriki might one day fall. Black Zetsu sank slightly into the ground, and if he reaches the final state, then Naruto Uzumaki dies. Madara's voice was calm. The armor remains. The wind moved through the dead trees around them. Madara turned away. Prepare the next pressure. White Zetsu grinned. Another fight? No. Madara's smile faded into something colder. A memory? Near the ruined shrine, Naruto woke before sunrise. Snow had fallen during the night. It covered the ground, the broken roof, the trees, and the old stone steps leading nowhere. For a few seconds, he did not move. He felt the armor. He felt the pain beneath it. He felt Kurama watching from inside the cage. Then he felt the scroll against his chest. Ramen. North Gate. Ikaraku rebuilt. Come home. Naruto sat up slowly. The armor shifted with him. He looked south. The road in that direction was not clear. There were mountains, patrols, villages, hunters. Akatsuki, Konoha, memory, betrayal, everything he had spent 6 months walking away from. He stood. His hand went to the iron slab. For a moment, the armor seemed to expect the usual choice. North, distance. Cold, silence. Instead, Naruto turned south, not fully, not quickly, but enough. The first step cracked the snow. Kurama said nothing. The armor tightened. Naruto took another step, then another. The hollow maelstrom moved again. But for the first time since the night Konoha buried him alive, he was not moving away from something. He was moving toward a bowl of ramen. Toward a gate. Toward a name that still hurt. Toward the people who had failed him. Toward the people who still might save him. And far ahead, beyond politics, beyond summits, beyond Madara's unseen game, Sasuke Uchiha walked the same road from the opposite direction. One carried a weapon meant to break armor. One carried armor meant to break souls. Between them waited the last fragile pieces of Naruto Uzumaki. A scrap of orange cloth, a folded note, a forgotten taste, and 2 battles left before the boy in black iron disappeared forever. Chapter 6, Madara's Game and Kurama's Gamble, Arc Roman 4. The Reckoning opening hook. Madara didn't want to fight the armor, he wanted to feed it. Give it a big enough meal that when Naruto finally went dark forever, the armor itself would become the Ten Tails vessel. Naruto turned south. The world noticed, not all at once, not with alarms, banners, or armies moving openly across borders. The world was too careful for that now. The emergency summit had made one thing clear. Nobody wanted to be the first nation blamed for turning the hollow maelstrom into a catastrophe. So the world noticed quietly. A sensor in a border post felt a violent pressure pass through the edge of his range and vomited from the strain. A merchant caravan found a line of massive footprints in the snow and turned around without discussing it. A team of stone scouts saw a black armored figure crossing a frozen ridge at sunrise and chose, unanimously, to forget they had patrol duty in that direction. 3 different black market brokers received reports that the hollow maelstrom was no longer accepting contracts. That frightened them more than any massacre would have. A weapon that sold itself could be understood. A weapon moving toward something personal could not. Naruto did not know any of this. He walked south. The word felt strange inside him. For 6 months, north had meant distance. Cold, silence. Empty roads where no one shouted his name and no one asked him to come home. South meant memory. South meant Konoha. South meant gates, ramen, Team 7, old pain, old dreams, and the possibility that the village might look at him again and see only a prison sentence wearing armor. The armor disliked South. It did not speak, but Naruto felt it. The subtle tightening around his chest whenever his thoughts drifted toward the note hidden beneath the plates. The way the helmet's red haze thickened when he remembered Sakura's voice. The way the gauntlets clenched whenever Sasuke's insult surfaced from the fog. Dobe. The word had followed him for days. Not gently, nothing about Sasuke was gentle, but it stayed. Naruto walked through a mountain pass beneath a sky heavy with snow clouds. The iron slab dragged a scar behind him. His body hurt with every step, though the armor filtered the pain into something dull and distant. That was becoming dangerous. He knew that now. Pain was supposed to warn a body when something was wrong. The armor treated warning signs like unnecessary opinions. His left knee had not healed correctly after Aimgakure. His right shoulder still clicked when the plates shifted. 3 ribs had sealed crooked before his Uzumaki healing corrected them halfway, leaving a deep ache under his breath. And inside his chest, under black iron, were 2 fragile things the armor had not managed to crush. A scrap of orange cloth, a folded note, ramen, North Gate. Ikaraku rebuilt. Come home, Naruto repeated the words without moving his lips. Kurama watched him from inside the second cage. The fox had grown quieter again, but this silence was different. Not rage, not fear, calculation, the kind of silence Naruto remembered from older shinobi before a battle turned ugly. Finally, Kurama spoke. You feel it too? Naruto kept walking. What? Don't play stupid. You were better at it when you were 12. A faint breath left Naruto's nose, almost a laugh. The armor tightened immediately, punishing the shape of it. Kurama's eyes narrowed. That. Every time you remember something human, it squeezes. Naruto did not answer. It knows where you're going. The snow crunched beneath iron boots. Naruto's voice came low through the helm. Then let it know. Kurama's tails shifted behind the bars. Bold words from someone wearing a coffin that walks. Naruto stopped. For a moment, the wind moved around him, and the armor stood still as a statue. A coffin would let me rest. Kurama had no answer for that. Naruto started walking again. The pass widened ahead into a valley full of dead trees and old battlefield stones. Not one of the famous places. Not a valley with statues or legends. Just another forgotten scar from another forgotten war. Broken spear shafts, rusted helmets, half-buried shrine markers. The bones had been cleared long ago, but the land still remembered. Naruto stepped into the valley. The armor warmed. Kurama's head lifted. Naruto. The name struck the inside of the helm like a hand on glass. Naruto stopped. Ahead, a man stood among the dead trees. Long dark hair moved in the wind. Red armor, old and battle-worn, covered his body. A gunbai rested across his back. His posture was relaxed, almost bored, as if he had arrived early to a meeting no one else knew was happening. Naruto had never seen him before, but Kurama knew him. The fox's chakra surged so hard against the second cage that black iron roots groaned around the seal. Madara, the name carried hatred older than Konoha. The man smiled. So the fox can still speak. Naruto's hand moved to the slab. Madara Uchiha watched the motion with interest. Not gone then, only buried. Naruto's visor burned red. Move. Madara's smile deepened. That is all you have become, isn't it? A command searching for an obstacle. Naruto drew the slab from his back. The weapon's edge dropped into the snow with a heavy crunch. Kurama snarled inside him. Run! Naruto did not. Kurama's voice sharpened. Brat, listen to me. That is not a fight. That is a trap wearing a man's face. Madara tilted his head as if he had heard every word. Kurama always did mistake survival instinct for wisdom. Naruto's grip tightened. The armor grew warmer. Madara saw it. Good. That was the first step. Madara had no intention of killing Naruto quickly. That would have been wasteful. He understood weapons better than most men understood their own hands. A sword could be sharpened. A seal could be layered. A jinchuriki could be conditioned. A cursed artifact could be fed. The Berserker armor was not a simple relic. It was not merely metal. It was a philosophy given form. Protect the body by destroying the person inside it. Remove hesitation. Remove pain. Remove restraint. Leave only motion. Such a thing did not reach its fullest state through injury alone. Injury opened the door, yes. Battle heated the iron. Desperation strengthened the bond, but grief gave it depth. Grief made the wearer surrender, and Naruto Uzumaki had grief enough to anchor a moon. Madara had arranged many things over many years, some directly, some by suggestion. Some by placing a single object in the right ruin and waiting for history to become cruel enough to use it. The armor had waited beneath Konoha's shadow like a seed in dead soil. Now it had bloomed. All Madara needed was the final stage, Tier V. The moment Naruto's self died completely and the armor remained active around the empty shape of him. At that moment, the armor would become more than a shell. It would become a vessel, a lock. A perfect anchor for a dream cast across the world, but not yet. The vessel had to be ripened, pressed, cracked, fed memories until the human soul inside tore itself trying to escape. Madara looked at Naruto and saw not a boy, not even a monster. He saw timing. "Do you know why you found the armor?" Madara asked. Naruto said nothing. Madara began walking slowly to the side, circling him. Naruto's visor tracked him. Not fate. Fate is what weak people call old planning. The chest was buried where you would fall if Konoha betrayed you near the northern ravine, not because I knew the exact hour. Exact hours are for fortune-tellers and fools. He stopped beside a dead tree. But I knew villages. I knew fear. I knew what Konoha would do if its brightest weapon became inconvenient. Naruto's breathing deepened. The armor warmed further. Kurama slammed against the cage. Don't listen. Madara's eyes gleamed. And I knew you, Naruto Uzumaki, not personally. You were not important then, but your kind is always the same. Lonely children with too much power and not enough love. Sooner or later, someone teaches them they are safer as weapons than as people. Naruto moved. No warning, the slab tore through the space where Madara had been standing. The tree behind him exploded. Madara appeared 20 paces away, untouched. Good, he said. Naruto charged. The first exchange did not look like a fight. It looked like a natural disaster trying to catch a shadow. Naruto swung with enough force to split frozen ground. Madara stepped aside by inches, reading the line of attack before it completed. The slab smashed through stones, trees, and old battlefield markers, sending snow and earth into the air. Madara did not counter immediately, he guided. A kunai here, a fireball there. A burst of gunbai-driven force to push Naruto 2 steps left. A genjutsu flash not meant to hold him, only to irritate the armor's senses. Naruto's visor burned brighter. The armor did not like missing. Madara smiled. That armor has no patience. Neither did you once. Naruto lunged again. Madara finally struck. His gunbai met the iron slab. The impact shook the valley for 1 second. Black Iron and Uchiha War Fan pressed against each other, snow blasting outward in a ring. Madara's feet slid back half a step. His smile became real. There it is. Naruto pushed harder. A crack opened beneath them. Madara redirected. The gunbai twisted, turning Naruto's force aside. The slab buried itself in the ground. Madara's foot hit Naruto's chest plate like a hammer, sending him backward through the snow. Naruto skidded. The armor corrected his stance. Madara watched the plates shift. You are already damaged. Naruto stood. Move. That word again. Madara's Sharingan spun. The world changed. Genjutsu could not hold the armor. That was true. The armor broke illusions like glass because illusions required interpretation, and the armor had reduced Naruto's senses to simpler categories: threat, pain, motion, obstacle. But Madara did not need to trap him, only show him. The battlefield vanished for half a heartbeat. Naruto stood in a corridor beneath the Hokage Tower. Smoke, dust, blood, Jiraiya on one knee. Naruto's breath caught. The armor rejected the illusion immediately. The corridor cracked apart, but the image had already landed. Madara attacked before the valley fully returned. His gunbai struck Naruto's side, hard enough to dent a plate and drive him through a dead tree. Naruto rose with a sound that was half growl, half broken breath. The armor heated, one dark tail unspooled from his spine. Madara's eyes sharpened. Grief opens you faster than pain. Naruto charged again. This time the slab moved faster. Madara avoided the first strike, blocked the second, and used a fire jutsu at close range. Flames swallowed Naruto's upper body. Naruto walked through them. A one-handed Rasengan formed in his left palm. Madara's gaze flicked to it. Jiraiya's technique. Naruto froze for 1 fraction of a second. Madara's knee struck his wrist. The Rasengan detonated early, blasting both of them apart. Naruto hit the ground and rolled once before the armor forced him upright. His left fingers twisted wrong again. The gauntlet reset them. Second tail, Kurama roared. Naruto, stop responding. He is steering you. Madara heard the fox's panic and enjoyed it. He lifted one hand. The Sharingan spun again. This time the illusion was not Jiraiya, it was Konoha, not the tribunal, not the prison. The village in sunlight, the academy roof. The Hokage monument, the Ikaraku counter, a bowl of ramen steaming in front of a child with messy blonde hair and a grin too large for his face. Naruto staggered. The armor shrieked, not aloud. Inside, a pressure like metal bending in the soul. The second tail thickened. A third began forming. Madara struck again, not with a blade, but with words. They fed you scraps of kindness and called it love. Naruto's head snapped up. Madara walked toward him slowly. One bowl here, one smile there, enough to keep you loyal. Not enough to keep you safe. Naruto's breathing became ragged. The note under his chest plate felt suddenly hot. Ramen. North Gate. Ikaraku rebuilt. Come home, the armor tightened around it. Madara's voice lowered. Konoha made you beg for humanity, then punished you for becoming powerful enough not to beg. Naruto lunged, third tail fully formed. The valley shook when he moved. This time Madara had to take him seriously. The slab struck the gunbai, and the force drove Madara backward across the snow. Naruto followed, relentless, three dark tails tearing trenches behind him. Each swing came with shockwaves that broke trees before the blade reached them. Madara's fire jutsu turned the snowfield into steam. Naruto came through it. Madara's shuriken multiplied through shadow clones. Naruto smashed them aside. Madara used the gunbai to reflect force back at him. Naruto took it and continued. The armor was hot now, not warm, not battle-ready, hungry. Naruto's body was beginning to disappear beneath its will. His strikes lost what little human rhythm remained. No feints. No hesitation. No breath between movements, only violent correction toward the target. Madara's smile faded into focus. This was the dangerous stage. Not because Naruto might kill him, because the armor might mature too quickly. Madara needed pressure with precision. Too little and Naruto might turn away. Too much and the vessel might break before Tier V, so Madara changed weapons. He stopped fighting the armor. He attacked the boy. The Sharingan flared. Naruto saw Sasuke, not present, not real. A younger Sasuke standing at the Valley of the End, rain on his face, eyes full of anger and something that had looked too much like pain. Why do you care so much? The illusion cracked. Naruto swung blindly. Madara stepped beneath the strike and placed two fingers against Naruto's chest plate. Not an attack, a pulse. The armor's seam flickered. Madara felt it, there, the binding point. Sasuke had seen correctly, though Madara did not know that yet. Interesting. Naruto's gauntlet caught Madara's arm. For the first time, Madara was almost too slow. The grip crushed the armor around his forearm. He twisted free, sacrificing the outer plate before Naruto could pull him into the slab's path. Fourth tail. The ground beneath Naruto blackened where the tails moved. Kurama's cage shook violently. The fox understood now, not all of it, but enough. Madara was not trying to win. He was feeding the armor. Brat! Kurama roared. He wants this. Naruto did not hear or could not. His world was red, black, and Madara. Madara moved backward toward the center of the valley, where old battlefield stones formed a broken circle. Not random. Nothing tonight was random. Beneath the snow, white Zetsu had prepared seals. Not active ones. The armor might notice active seals. These were old-style resonance markers designed not to bind but to echo, memory amplifiers. When Naruto stepped into the circle, Madara formed one hand sign. The valley filled with ghosts, not real spirits, not Edo Tensei, images, sounds. Echoes pulled from Naruto's own reactions and shaped by the Sharingan, Jiraiya laughing, Sakura saying his name, Kakashi's voice, don't chase him now, he'll treat you like pursuit. Sasuke, that's not Naruto. Tsunade, containment, Danzo, weapon. Pain, your suffering has no purpose, a child's voice from long ago. Monster, the armor screamed inside him. Naruto dropped to one knee. Four tails lashed in all directions, tearing apart the ground, shattering stones, cutting through dead trees like paper. Madara watched from outside the circle. Almost. Kurama slammed against the cage hard enough to crack one black root. Pain flared through Naruto's body. Real pain. The armor was destabilizing from within, not breaking, opening. A fifth tail began to form. The moment it emerged, the air changed. Snow stopped falling around Naruto, not melted, stopped, suspended in the pressure. Madara's eye gleamed, Tier Roman 4, 5 tails. A full pre-final state, the armor sprouted additional ridges along Naruto's spine. The helm shifted, becoming more beast-like, the jawline elongating into something less human. Dark energy pulsed from the seams. The iron slab in Naruto's hand seemed smaller now, less like a weapon and more like an extension of the storm. Naruto stood. No hesitation, no words, no boy. Madara smiled. There you are! Kurama had known many prisons. The first was hatred. The second was Maito Uzumaki. Then Kushina. Then Naruto, he had spent decades behind seals, raging at humans, mocking their weakness, waiting for their fear to prove him right. But the Berserker armor's cage was different. A seal had rules. A seal acknowledged what it held. This thing treated him like contamination. Every time Kurama pushed chakra toward Naruto, black iron roots constricted around the bars. Every time he roared, the armor absorbed the vibration and turned it into pressure against Naruto's bones. It did not hate Kurama. That insulted him most. Hatred would have been personal, the armor simply rejected him. But when the fifth tail formed, something changed. The armor pulled too much pain, too much memory, too much of Naruto's body forced beyond refusal. For the first time, the second cage thinned in places. Not because it weakened, because it was busy. Kurama saw the crack, and the fox made a decision he would have once considered humiliating. He stopped trying to escape. He aimed inward all his life. Kurama's power had been a flood outward. Break the seal. Consume the host. Burn the world that dared to cage him. Now he gathered his chakra and compressed it, not to free himself, to overload the thing between him and Naruto. If he pushed too little, nothing would happen. If he pushed too much, Naruto's body might rupture under the conflict. If he timed it wrong, the armor would drink the pressure and grow stronger. Kurama bared his teeth. You always were impossible, brat. He waited. Outside, Madara struck the five-tailed armor with fire, force, and memory. Naruto did not fight like a shinobi anymore. He crossed distance in bursts that cracked the valley floor. He took Madara's fire jutsu directly and answered with a slab strike that split the flame apart. He ignored wounds, ignored counters, ignored tactical openings unless they led forward. Madara was being pushed now, not defeated, never that easily, but pushed. The gunbai blocked one strike and nearly tore from his grip. Naruto's dark tails lashed, forcing Madara to use Susanoo ribs for defense. Purple chakra flared around him as the tails struck again and again, each hit sounding like thunder trapped inside bone. Madara's smile returned. Yes, more. Kurama saw the armor open its inner channels to sustain the assault. There, the fox released everything he had compressed. Biju chakra flooded the second cage. The armor reacted instantly. Black roots clamped down, too late. Kurama's chakra did not flow toward Naruto's limbs. It detonated inside the suppression system. For one impossible second, the inner world turned red gold. The armor's cage cracked. Naruto's body seized. The five tails vanished. The armor's plates blew outward from his body in a ring of black sparks, not removed but forced open, separated from his skin by the sudden overload. Madara's eyes widened. What? Naruto collapsed to his knees in the snow. No helmet, no tails. No black haze, just Naruto, bleeding from small cuts where armor hooks had withdrawn. Breathing hard, eyes blue, fully conscious. For the first time in over a year, he felt everything: the cold, the broken ribs, the torn shoulder, the ruined fingers, the weight of every battle the armor had delayed. He screamed, not because he was weak, because he was finally allowed to. Kurama's voice thundered through him. 30 seconds, Naruto's eyes snapped open. Madara moved immediately. This was not part of the plan. The armor was open. The vessel exposed. The host conscious, dangerous. Madara launched forward. Naruto had no armor control, no Kurama cloak, no strength worth mentioning compared to what had been moving his body a moment before. 30 seconds. He could not beat Madara. He could not run. He could not heal. So he did something the armor would never have chosen. Something useless, something human. He reached into the open chest plate and pulled out the folded scroll. His hands shook so badly he almost dropped it. Kurama roared. 20 seconds, Naruto unfolded the paper. The ink was slightly smeared from heat and pressure, but the words remained: ramen. North Gate, Ikaraku rebuilt. Come home. Naruto read it once, then again. His face changed, not dramatically, no heroic grin, no sudden speech about dreams, just one tiny break in the deadness that had settled over him. His mouth trembled, his eyes filled. He remembered the taste, not fully. Not perfectly, but enough: salt, miso, pork, warmth after a day of being ignored, a bowl pushed toward him without fear, a place where his name had never sounded like a warning. Naruto pressed the paper against his chest. "Kurama," he whispered, 10 seconds. "I want to go home." The fox went silent. For one heartbeat, even Madara stopped hearing the battlefield. Then the armor snapped shut. Black plates slammed back into place around Naruto's body. The helmet sealed over his face. The red visor burned brighter than before, furious at the breach. The scroll slipped from Naruto's fingers and fell into the snow, but something had changed. The armor was hot. The 5 tails returned. Yet Naruto's left hand moved differently. It reached once toward the fallen scroll before the armor forced it back to the weapon. Madara saw it. So did Kurama. The boy was still there, buried, but awake. Madara's expression cooled. "Unfortunate." He raised his gun by. "Then we proceed faster." Sasuke arrived at the edge of the valley as the 5th tail tore through a line of dead trees. He stopped on the ridge, breath fogging in the cold air. Below him, the battlefield looked impossible. The ground had been carved open in circles and scars. Trees lay shattered. Stones glowed faintly from heat. Dark energy lashed through the snow around Naruto like living blades. Madara stood across from him, partially guarded by Susanoo ribs. His old armor cracked in one place, his expression sharper than before. Sasuke's hand tightened around his sword. "Madara Uchiha?" The name moved through his blood like poison, but his eyes did not stay on Madara. They went to Naruto. 5 tails. Armor fully awakened, body moving wrong, too much force, too little self. Sasuke's jaw tightened. He had been right. 2 battles left had become 1, maybe less. Then something white caught his eye, a piece of paper in the snow. It lay between broken stones, half covered by frost. Sasuke moved before thinking, flickering down the ridge and landing behind a shattered pillar. The battlefield pressure nearly drove him to one knee. He forced himself forward and snatched the paper from the ground. He opened it. Ramen. North Gate. Ikaraku rebuilt. "Come home." Sasuke stared at the words. He recognized Sakura's handwriting. No, not just Sakura, the pressure in the strokes, the slight curve at the end of home. The spacing too careful for someone writing calmly. Sakura had written it, but the idea belonged to everyone. Chuchai. Iame, Kakashi, Tsunade maybe, all the people too late reaching anyway. Sasuke looked at Naruto. The 5-tailed armored figure slammed into Madara's Susanoo defense hard enough to crack the purple ribs. Madara countered with a firestorm, forcing Naruto back 3 steps before the armor drove him forward again. Sasuke folded the scroll carefully. His face tightened. "You idiot," he said quietly. He tucked it into his own pouch. "You kept it." He stepped out from behind the pillar. Madara noticed him immediately. So the younger Uchiha arrives. Sasuke ignored him. His eyes stayed on Naruto. The armor's visor snapped toward him. Threat, recognition, both. Sasuke walked forward, not toward Madara, toward Naruto. Madara's gaze sharpened with interest. "Careful, boy, he no longer knows allies." Sasuke drew his sword. Lightning began to gather along the blade. "I know." Naruto's 5 tails lashed, the armor lowered into a hunting stance. Sasuke kept walking. Every instinct in his body screamed at him to move tactically. Circle. Feint. Wait for Kakashi. Wait for Sakura. Wait for anyone with a plan that did not involve stepping toward a living disaster. He ignored all of it. Naruto had once run toward him when every sane person would have let him go. Now it was Sasuke's turn to be the idiot. Madara smiled faintly. This should be useful. Sasuke's Sharingan spun. His voice cut across the valley. "Dobe." Naruto froze, only for half a second. But half a second was more than nothing. Sasuke lifted his sword. "You said you wanted to go home," the armor screamed. Naruto's tails struck the ground. Sasuke's eyes narrowed. "Then move, idiot." The 5-tailed monster lunged. Sasuke lunged too. And above them, Madara watched the last fragile piece move into place. Next, I'll close the arc with Chapter 7, keeping the final fight human-focused instead of pure power fantasy, and making Naruto's survival feel earned rather than easy. Chapter 7, The Last Human Thing, Arc Roman 4. the legacy opening hook. He didn't save the world by becoming its hope. He saved it by becoming its warning, and choosing at the very last second not to be its end. Sasuke had fought monsters before. Orochimaru had worn human skin like a disguise. Itachi had turned an entire life into a genjutsu so perfect that truth and cruelty became impossible to separate. Gaara, once, had stood across from him with sand moving like a living grave. But Naruto in the Berserker armor was different, because monsters were easier when they were strangers. This thing charging toward him across the ruined valley wore Naruto's height, Naruto's shape, Naruto's stubborn forward motion. And somewhere behind the red visor, buried beneath black iron and 5 dark tails, was the boy who had once shouted his name like the world would end if Sasuke did not answer. Now the world might end because Sasuke had answered too late. The 5-tailed armored figure crossed the distance like a storm. Sasuke's Sharingan spun. Time did not slow. That was a lie people told when they survived. Time sharpened. Every detail became cruelly clear. The drag of Naruto's iron slab through the snow. The way the armor's left shoulder overcorrected, hiding an old injury. The tiny flicker at the chest seam when Sasuke had said dobe. The place he had to strike, left of center, between overlapping plates, deep enough to disrupt the binding, not deep enough to kill the heart beneath. A theory. An unproven, desperate, arrogant theory. Exactly the kind of thing Team 7 always mistook for a plan. Sasuke moved. Naruto's slab came down. Sasuke slid beneath the first strike, feeling the air tear over his back. The weapon hit the ground behind him and split the valley floor in a line of shattered stone and snow. Sasuke came up inside Naruto's reach, too close for the slab, not too close for the armor. A black gauntlet shot toward his throat. Sasuke twisted aside, but the fingers caught the edge of his cloak and ripped it away. He spun, planted one foot against Naruto's chest plate, and kicked off hard. Naruto barely moved. Sasuke landed badly, boots skidding. The armor turned, no hesitation, no human rhythm, just correction. Sasuke's jaw tightened, still built like a wall. The armor lunged again. Madara watched from the far side of the battlefield, half sheltered behind the cracked ribs of his Susanoo. He did not interfere, not yet. The younger Uchiha had introduced a new variable, an emotional one. Dangerous, yes, but useful. The armor was reacting. The seam had flickered. Naruto's buried self still answered to old bonds. Good. If Sasuke failed, the failure would feed Naruto's despair. If Sasuke died, grief might push the armor directly into the final state. If Sasuke succeeded halfway, cracking but not removing the armor, the vessel might destabilize perfectly. Madara smiled. Children were useful when they believed sacrifice made them unpredictable. It often made them beautifully simple. Sasuke tried the first Chidori too early. He knew it as soon as he moved. Lightning gathered around his hand, sharp and bright, screaming through the valley. He aimed for the seam, body low, Sharingan fixed on the opening. Naruto reacted faster than any wounded body should have been able to. The slab swept sideways. Sasuke aborted the strike and leapt upward, the weapon passing beneath him close enough to tear the sole of one sandal. A dark tail snapped toward him midair. He crossed his sword in front of his chest. The tail hit. Sasuke flew backward through a dead tree and crashed into the snow. Pain flashed white across his ribs. He rolled before he fully stopped moving. Naruto landed where he had been a heartbeat later, fist punching into the ground and blasting snow outward in a ring. Sasuke forced himself up. His breath came sharp. Too slow, he muttered. Naruto's visor turned. Sasuke lifted his sword again. Yeah, I know, I'm talking to myself. A low growl rolled from the armor, not Kurama, not Naruto, something emptier. Sasuke's eyes narrowed. I wasn't asking you. He reached into his pouch with his free hand. For 1 second he touched the folded note, ramen. North Gate, Ikaraku rebuilt. Come home, Naruto's head tilted. The armor felt it. That tiny movement told Sasuke everything. The note still mattered. Good, painful, useful. Sasuke pulled the note out and held it up. The 5 tails stilled. Madara's smile faded slightly. Sasuke's voice cut through the storm. "You dropped this." The armor shrieked in silence. Naruto's gauntlet tightened around the slab. Sasuke took 1 step forward. Sakura wrote it. The red visor flickered. Kakashi found the road. Another flicker. Tsunade let it happen too late, but she still sent it. The armor's plates shifted violently around Naruto's chest, and Ikaraku rebuilt outside the walls. Sasuke's voice lowered. "They're waiting, idiot!" Naruto did not move. For one impossible moment, the battlefield held still around them. Then Madara moved. He understood the danger now, not to the plan in general, to the timing. The boy was not supposed to wake yet. Madara's hand formed a sign. "Fire style." Sasuke's eyes snapped toward him, too late. A massive wall of flame roared across the valley, not aimed at Naruto, aimed at the note, at Sasuke's hand, at the fragile human thing holding the monster still. Sasuke cursed and pulled the paper back, but the heat struck first. The edge of the note caught fire. Naruto moved, not toward Sasuke. Toward the flame, the armor lunged as if attacking the jutsu itself. The slab carved upward, splitting the firestorm in two. Heat washed around them. Snow turned to steam. The note's burning edge smoked in Sasuke's fingers, but the words remained. Naruto had protected it. Sasuke saw, so did Madara. So did Kurama. Inside the cage, the fox surged forward. There you are, brat," the armor responded by tightening so hard Naruto's body arched beneath it. A 6th shape began to flicker behind him, not fully formed, not a tail yet. A warning. Madara's eyes gleamed. Enough delay. The Susanoo ribs around him expanded. A skeletal arm formed, drawing a chakra blade. Purple light cut through the steam as Madara advanced. "Naruto Uzumaki," Madara said, voice calm and cruel. "You are tired of choosing. Let the armor finish what your village began." The 6th tail twitched. Sasuke felt the pressure change. His window was closing. He looked at Naruto, then at the seam, then at the note in his hand. He folded it once quickly and tucked it into the front of his torn shirt. "Fine," he said. Lightning gathered around his hand again. Not Chidori yet. Preparation, focus. One strike. One chance. Naruto's visor locked onto the lightning threat. The armor chose Sasuke. Madara chose both. The final exchange began. Naruto was drowning in red, not water, not blood. Red like a world seen through pain too old to scream. The armor moved his body. Madara spoke somewhere ahead. Sasuke's voice cut through somewhere closer. Kurama roared from somewhere beneath. But everything came distorted, distant. Almost meaningless. Except the paper, the note. He had seen fire touch it, and something inside him had rejected that completely, not as strategy, not as survival, as refusal. No, that was mine. The thought was small, human. The armor hated it. It pressed down harder. It filled his bones with motion and his mouth with silence. It dragged his hands toward the slab, his feet toward enemies, his spine into the shape of a beast. Naruto tried to speak. Nothing came out. He tried to stop. His body stepped forward. Inside, he reached for Kurama. For the first time, not in anger, not for power, for help. The fox felt it. Kurama's eyes widened behind black bars. After years of being treated as a demon, a battery, a monster, a threat, he knew the difference between demand and request. This was neither. This was Naruto falling and reaching for anything that would reach back. Kurama lowered his head. "I'm here." The words shook the inner darkness. Naruto's buried self turned toward them. The armor reacted violently. Black roots tightened around Kurama's cage. Iron pressure slammed down between fox and boy. The second cage tried to seal the breach, to isolate the host again, to return all things to simple categories: threat, pain, motion, obstacle. Kurama bared his teeth. No, he pushed again, not with rage, with presence. A pulse of chakra, warm and massive, not flooding Naruto's limbs but wrapping around his awareness, an anchor, not transformation, not possession. Companionship, though Kurama would have bitten anyone who called it that aloud. Naruto. Listen to the Uchiha. Naruto's inner voice flickered. Sasuke. Outside, the armored body lunged toward Sasuke. Inside, Kurama held the smallest crack open. Yes. The annoying one. For one faint second, Naruto almost smiled. The armor punished it. Pain ripped through him, real pain. The red deepened. Kurama roared. Now Sasuke did not hear the words. But he saw the opening. The seam flickered. Sasuke moved like lightning because anything slower was death. Naruto's slab came down in front of him. Sasuke used the flat of his sword against the falling weapon, not to block but to redirect himself, letting the impact throw him sideways instead of crushing him. His shoulder nearly tore from the force. He ignored it. A dark tail lashed at his legs. He jumped. Another struck midair. He twisted and took the hit along his back instead of his spine. Pain burst across his body, but the blow launched him exactly where he needed to go, toward Naruto's left side. Toward the seam. Madara saw it. His Susanoo blade came down. Sasuke could dodge Madara or strike Naruto, not both he chose. Lightning erupted around his hand. Chidori screamed. Sasuke's Sharingan fixed on the opening. Naruto's visor turned toward him. For one heartbeat, blue flickered behind red. Sasuke saw it, not much, enough. His mouth tightened. Don't make me regret this. He drove the Chidori into the seam. The world broke open. Black iron resisted like living hatred. The lightning did not cut cleanly. It spread across the armor, spiderwebbing through plates, burning along hidden hooks and internal braces. The seam opened half an inch, then tried to close around Sasuke's hand. Sasuke screamed through clenched teeth. He pushed deeper. The backlash hit him immediately, not chakra, not electricity. Something colder. The armor tried to read him. Threat, obstacle, damage source, remove. Plates along Naruto's chest unfolded into jagged teeth, clamping down towards Sasuke's wrist. His skin burned where the black iron touched him. His Chidori wavered. Madara's Susanoo blade struck the ground beside them, close enough to blast both of them off balance. Sasuke did not withdraw. He saw Naruto's eye through the visor, blue, terrified, awake. Sasuke snarled. You chased me through worse. He poured everything into the Chidori. The lightning changed pitch. The seam cracked. A sound tore through the valley, not metal breaking, a bond screaming. The armor's chest plate split across the left side, a jagged fracture racing from the seam up toward the collar and down across the ribs. Dark energy exploded outward. Sasuke took the full backlash. His body flew backward, lightning scattering from his hand, sword spinning away into the snow. He hit the ground hard and rolled twice before stopping face down, unconscious. The folded note slipped from his shirt and landed beside him, still intact. Naruto froze. The armor staggered. For the first time since binding him, it did not know how to correct the damage. The chest plate cracked wider. The five tails thrashed wildly, striking the ground, trees, stones, anything nearby. The half-formed sixth tail dissolved before it could complete. Madara's eyes sharpened. The seam. His voice held irritation now, real irritation. Sasuke Uchiha had not destroyed the armor, but he had broken the timing. The vessel was unstable before reaching final maturity. Madara lifted his hand. Then I will complete it manually. He moved toward Naruto. Kurama saw him. Naruto! The armor tried to reassert control. Naruto's body jerked toward Sasuke, toward the unconscious body, toward the note, toward the boy who had walked into death with a lightning blade and an insult, because that was the only language he trusted. Madara approached from the other side, Susanoo arm raised. You are empty enough, Madara said. The rest can be carved away. The cracked armor pulled Naruto upright. It tried to raise the slab. His fingers did not close. For the first time, Naruto refused, and the armor failed to immediately win. The crack Sasuke made widened another inch. Inside, Kurama gathered himself. The fox understood now. He could not break the armor while it was whole. But cracked, unstable, forced open by lightning and memory, that was different. Kurama lowered his massive head. Naruto. The boy in the darkness looked up. This will hurt. Naruto's answer was faint. Everything hurts. Kurama's eyes softened in a way no human would ever be allowed to witness. Not like this. Outside, Madara's Susanoo blade came down. Naruto moved, not with the armor's forward hunger. With his own clumsy, broken instinct. He grabbed the iron slab and lifted it just enough to catch the Suzanu's strike. The impact drove him to one knee. The cracked chest plate screamed. Madara pressed harder, still resisting. Naruto's voice came through the broken helm, barely human. Yeah. Madara's eyes narrowed. Naruto lifted his head through the fractured visor. One blue eye looked out. Still. Kurama struck, not at Madara, not outward, inward. A flood of nine tails chakra surged into the armor's broken binding system. This time the second cage could not seal fast enough. The chakra filled the cracks Sasuke had opened and burned through them like sunlight through a broken wall. The armor convulsed. Black plates lifted from Naruto's body. Hooks tore free, spinal ridges snapped. The five tails became unstable, flickering between dark energy and red-gold chakra. Kurama roared, and for the first time since Chapter 1, the sound reached the outside world clearly, not as possession, as protection. The valley filled with red-gold light. Madara stepped back, not in fear, in calculation. The vessel was collapsing. Naruto screamed again, but this scream was different, not the armor using his body, not pain delayed and returned. This was the sound of something being pulled out of a wound that had grown around it. The chest plate shattered first, then the left gauntlet. Then the helm split across the visor, one half falling away into the snow. Naruto's face emerged beneath it, pale, bloodied from small cuts, eyes blazing blue through tears and exhaustion. The armor tried one final command, forward, kill, survive. Naruto answered with the last human thing he had. No, the word was small, hoarse, almost lost under the storm of chakra, but it was his. The armor broke. Black iron exploded outward in fragments, scattering across the valley like pieces of a dead night. The five tails vanished. The pressure collapsed. The red haze disappeared. Naruto fell forward. Kurama's chakra wrapped around him before he hit the ground, a faint cloak barely strong enough to hold his broken body together. Madara watched the pieces fall. For one moment, his face was utterly still. Then Naruto lifted his head, not standing, not victorious, just alive. Madara looked from him to the unconscious Sasuke, then to the shattered armor fragments steaming in the snow. His plan had not failed completely. Plans like his never lived in one path, but this path had closed. The armor could no longer become the lock, not now, not with the host conscious. Not with Kurama anchoring him. Madara's mouth curved slightly. Interesting. Naruto tried to push himself up. His arms shook violently. Madara raised one hand. Kurama's chakra flared weakly around Naruto. The fox was exhausted. Naruto was worse. Sasuke was unconscious. The valley was ruined. Madara could still kill them. He knew it. Kurama knew it. Naruto knew it. But killing Naruto now gained him less than leaving him alive. A broken plan could become useful later. A dead Jinchuriki created complications. And Madara Uchiha had always preferred games that continued. This delay changes nothing, Madara said. Naruto's voice scraped out. Then why are you leaving? For the first time, Madara looked faintly amused. Because you are no longer useful tonight. Naruto's fingers curled in the snow. Madara turned away. But remember this, Naruto Uzumaki. Your village feared the weapon. The armor loved the weapon. Your friends saved the boy. He glanced back with his Sharingan burning. That means the boy can still be used. Kurama growled through Naruto's chakra cloak. Madara vanished into swirling distortion and shadow. The valley became quiet. Snow began falling again. Sakura arrived with Kakashi and Gaara an hour later. By then, Naruto had dragged himself 3 feet toward Sasuke and collapsed beside him. Not on top of him, not touching, just close enough to know he was breathing. The note lay between them. Half burned at one edge, folded open. Kakashi saw the battlefield first. He stopped at the ridge for a moment, even he had no words. The valley looked like something had tried to erase it and changed its mind halfway through. Broken trees, split ground, black iron shards, purple chakra residue. 9 tails chakra fading like embers in snow. Then Sakura saw the bodies. Sasuke! She moved before Kakashi could speak, sliding down the slope and crossing the battlefield at full speed. She reached Sasuke first, hands glowing green before she even dropped to her knees. Alive. Pulse weak but steady. Chakra pathways burned, left arm damaged, ribs cracked, unconscious but alive, her breath shook. Then she looked at Naruto. He was watching her. No helmet, no red visor, no monster's skin, just Naruto, older somehow, exhausted beyond anything sleep could fix. The right side of his face was bruised. His lips were cracked from cold. His arms lay at unnatural angles until Kurama's faint chakra corrected the worst of it. Every breath looked like negotiation, but his eyes were blue. Sakura's face broke. Naruto, he flinched, not away from her, at the name, as if it hurt and healed at the same time. Kakashi landed beside them quietly. Gaara came after, sand moving under his feet to avoid disturbing the fragments. For a moment, Team 7 was almost whole again. Almost. Sakura reached toward Naruto. He tensed. Kakashi saw it and gently caught her wrist. Slow. Sakura froze, then nodded, tears running silently down her face. Naruto, she said carefully, softer this time. I'm going to heal you. Is that okay? The question mattered. No one had asked permission when they voted. No one had asked permission when they hunted him. The armor had never asked permission at all. Naruto stared at her. Then, after a long moment, he gave the smallest nod. Sakura placed her hands over his chest. Healing chakra flowed. Naruto gasped. Pain returned in waves. Sakura's eyes widened as her medical senses mapped the damage. Hairline fractures in both arms, multiple cracked ribs, shoulder trauma, knee damage, muscle tearing, chakra pathway burns. Old breaks healed wrong, then corrected badly, then healed again. She swallowed hard. The armor had not protected him. It had used his body like a bridge and kept repairing the planks just enough to cross again. Kakashi looked at the black iron shards. Is it gone? Gaara's sand hovered over one piece without touching it. Not gone. Kurama's voice rumbled faintly from Naruto, audible only because his chakra still wrapped around him, broken. Everyone went still. Naruto closed his eyes. Kurama! The fox's presence shifted. I'm here. Sakura stared, not in fear, in surprise. Naruto opened his eyes again. For the first time in a long time, his voice held something close to wonder. You stayed. Kurama snorted. Don't get sentimental. You'd die without supervision. A sound escaped Naruto. Tiny, broken, almost a laugh. This time, nothing tightened around his chest to stop it. Sakura covered her mouth. Kakashi looked away. Gaara's eyes softened. Sasuke remained unconscious, which was probably good, because he would have hated the emotional atmosphere. They did not take Naruto back to Konoha. That was Kakashi's decision. Tsunade agreed before anyone had to explain. The tribunal still existed. The elders still breathed. Danzo had vanished into Root's deepest holes the moment Madara's name entered the reports. Konoha was not ready to be home. And Naruto was not ready to forgive a place that had tried to bury him beneath it. So they moved him to a neutral safe house first, not a prison. No seals on the door, no guards inside the room. Only Sakura, rotating medics she trusted, Kakashi outside by choice rather than order, and Gaara's sand placed discreetly around the perimeter to warn of threats without caging the person inside. Sasuke woke 2 days later. His first words were, "Did it work?" Sakura hit him with a pillow, then healed the strain that caused. Naruto was awake by then, propped against the wall with bandaged arms and a bowl of broth in his lap. Not ramen yet. Sakura said his stomach needed gentler food first. He hated that, quietly, which was how everyone knew he was still recovering. Sasuke looked at him from the other futon. Naruto looked back. For a long moment, neither spoke. Then Sasuke said, "You look terrible." Naruto blinked, then his mouth twitched. "You look worse." Sasuke closed his eyes. Impossible. The silence after that was not comfortable, but it was real. Naruto looked down at the bowl in his hands. "Why?" Sasuke did not pretend not to understand. "You came after me." "That was different." "No, it wasn't." Naruto's fingers tightened around the bowl. Sasuke opened his eyes. "You were just louder about it." Naruto looked away. Outside the safe house, wind moved through pine trees. After a while, Naruto said, "I don't know if I can go back." Sasuke stared at the ceiling, to Konoha, to being me. That silenced the room. Even Sakura, standing near the doorway with fresh bandages, stopped moving. Naruto continued, voice low, I remember things, but some of them feel like stories somebody told me. I know I liked ramen, I know I wanted to be Hokage, I know I cared about people. His throat worked. But sometimes I can't feel it until something reminds me. And I'm scared that means the armor kept part of me. Kurama answered from inside him, voice quieter than usual. It took pieces. Not all. Pieces can be found. Naruto closed his eyes. How? No one had an easy answer. That was the honest part. Recovery would not be one speech, not one bowl of ramen. Not one dramatic reunion at the village gate. The armor had broken. That did not mean Naruto was healed. It meant healing could finally begin. Sakura walked over and sat beside him. Then we remind you, she said. Naruto looked at her. She shrugged, wiping at one eye like she was annoyed by it. We're annoying like that. Kakashi's voice came from outside the window. Team tradition, Sasuke scoffed. Unfortunately. Naruto stared at the bowl again. Something warm moved in his chest, not armor, not chakra, something smaller, human. It hurt. He decided that was okay. Madara's name changed everything and nothing. The 5 Cage received the report. The armor had shattered. The hollow maelstrom was no longer active. Madara Uchiha had been involved. That last line caused more panic than the rest combined. Some called for immediate war preparations. Some demanded Naruto be transferred to secure custody for protection. Gaara threatened to withdraw Suna cooperation if anyone attempted it. Mei supported him. Anoki complained loudly and then, surprisingly, agreed that trying to cage Naruto again would be the kind of stupidity even young people should be too old for. The Raikage said nothing for a long time. Then he declared that if Naruto crossed into Kumo territory peacefully, Kumo would not engage first. From him, that was practically a love letter. Tsunade returned to Konoha and began dismantling Root's authority piece by piece. Not cleanly, not instantly. Danzo was too old a parasite to remove with one pull, but the work began. The tribunal records were sealed, copied, and then exposed to enough trusted Jonin that they could never disappear. The village learned some of the truth, not all, enough. Some people were ashamed, some were defensive. Some insisted they had never wanted Naruto harmed, which was easy to say after the monster was gone and the boy remained. Chuchai closed Ikaraku for 3 days after hearing Naruto was alive. On the 4th day, he opened a traveling cart outside the north gate. Ayame painted the sign herself. Not because Naruto was ready to come to Konoha, because Konoha could wait, Ramen could travel. Naruto came at sunset. No armor, no cloak, no iron slab. The weapon had been left buried in the valley where the armor shattered. Naruto had looked at it once and decided it was too heavy even when he was not holding it. He wore simple dark clothes Kakashi had brought, a bandage under one sleeve, and a scarf Sakura insisted on because cold slowed healing. He complained once. Sakura glared. He stopped. Kurama's chakra moved quietly inside him, no longer buried under the 2nd Cage. The original seal remained, but something between them had changed. Not friendship exactly, not yet, but when Naruto's hands shook, Kurama steadied him from within. That was enough. The ramen cart stood beneath a line of trees outside Konoha's north gate, not inside, outside. The distinction mattered. Chuchai stood behind the counter, older than Naruto remembered and exactly the same in every way that counted. Ayame was beside him, pretending not to cry and failing badly. Kakashi leaned against a tree nearby. Sakura sat on a bench. Sasuke stood farther away with his arms folded, as if distance could hide the fact that he had come. Gaara remained at the edge of the road, silent guardian, sand resting peacefully at his feet. Naruto stopped 10 paces from the cart. The smell reached him. Miso, pork, noodles, steam. For one terrible second, fear struck him. What if it meant nothing? What if the memory stayed hollow? What if he sat down and tasted only salt and heat and proof that something inside him was gone forever? Chuchai did not call out dramatically, did not say welcome home, did not make it heavy. He simply looked at Naruto and smiled like the boy had arrived late for dinner. Usual, Naruto's face crumpled, not completely, just enough. He sat down on the stool, his hands shook on the counter. Yeah, he whispered. Usual. Ayame turned away to wipe her face. Sakura cried openly. Sasuke looked at the trees like they were very interesting. Kakashi's visible eye curved softly. Chuchai placed the bowl in front of Naruto. Extra pork. Extra noodles, the way he always had. Naruto stared at it. Steam touched his face. He picked up the chopsticks slowly. The first bite was too hot. He burned his tongue. A laugh escaped him. Small. Real. Tears followed immediately after because the taste came back, not all of it, not the whole boy, not the full warmth of a childhood that had never been as happy as memory wanted it to be, but enough. Enough to remember being hungry and fed. Enough to remember a counter where no one called him weapon. Enough to remember that Naruto Uzumaki had existed before the armor and might exist after it. He ate slowly. No one rushed him. The village gate stood behind them, open but not demanding. Naruto did not enter it that night. No one asked him to. When he finished, he placed the chopsticks down carefully. Chuchai refilled his bowl without asking. Naruto looked up. Old man, Chuchai's voice was steady. Yeah, Naruto swallowed. I don't know if I'm home. Chuchai nodded. That's fine, Naruto blinked. Chuchai pushed the second bowl closer. Eat while you figure it out. Naruto looked down. Then he smiled, not the old grin, not yet, but something honest, something alive. The world remembered the hollow maelstrom incorrectly almost immediately. That was what the world did. Mercenaries claimed they had fought beside him. Villages claimed he had spared them personally. Brokers claimed they had known his true identity all along. Kumo officially denied losing a weapons ring to a single armored fighter, which convinced everyone it had absolutely happened. Aimgakure never released a report. Pain rebuilt his bodies. Madara recalculated, and Naruto disappeared. Not dramatically, not forever. He simply stopped being available to the world. No contracts, no black market scroll drops, no armored figure walking through snow for months. Rumors replaced him. Some said the hollow maelstrom died fighting Madara. Some said Naruto Uzumaki survived but lost all his power. Some said he wandered the borderlands with the 9 tails whispering in his ear. Some said he returned to Konoha in secret and would become Hokage one day. Some said he hated Konoha forever. The truth was smaller. Harder, more human. He traveled, sometimes with Kakashi, sometimes with Sakura. Sometimes alone, though never as alone as before. Occasionally, Sasuke appeared on the same road and pretended it was coincidence. Gaara sent letters that said very little and meant a great deal. Naruto ate ramen in quiet places. He helped villages when he could, not as a mercenary. Not as a hero trying to prove anything. Just as someone learning the difference between moving forward and running away. Some days, he remembered easily. Some days, he woke with his hands clenched, expecting black gauntlets. Some days, Kurama had to say his name 3 times before the red in his dreams faded. Some days, he laughed. Those days mattered most. Years later, children in a border town found black iron shards half buried in a field. The pieces were cold. Ugly, strangely heavy. One boy tried to lift a jagged plate with both hands and failed. Another suggested it might be treasure from an old samurai battle. A third said it looked cursed and dared the others to touch it. Nearby, the blacksmith's daughter looked up from carrying water. She was 12, practical and not easily frightened. But the moment she saw the iron, unease crawled up her arms. "Leave it," she called. The boys groaned. "It's just metal." "Leave it," she repeated, sharper this time. Something in her voice made them obey. They ran off toward the road, already inventing a better version of the story where they had bravely chosen not to awaken an ancient demon. The girl remained. She stared at the shard half buried in the dirt. For a second, she thought she heard breathing. Then the wind moved through the grass and the sound was gone. That evening, a traveler passed through town, blonde hair, blue eyes, a plain cloak. A quiet fox like sharpness in the way he noticed everything without seeming to. He stopped at the ramen stall near the road and ordered 2 bowls. The vendor asked if someone was joining him. The traveler smiled faintly, sort of. Inside him, a deep voice grumbled, "I do not eat noodles." The traveler's smile grew. "You complain like you do." The vendor blinked. "Sorry, nothing." He ate slowly, watching the sunset turn the fields gold. Afterward, he walked toward the place where the children had found the shard. He stood there for a long time. Then he crouched, placed one hand over the buried iron, and let a small pulse of red-gold chakra sink into the earth. Not enough to destroy, enough to seal, enough to say no. When he stood, the shard was only metal. Cold, empty, powerless. The blacksmith's daughter watched from a distance. "Was it dangerous?" she asked. The traveler looked at her for a moment. His eyes carried an old tiredness. Then he smiled. "It used to be." She looked at the ground. "What was it?" He considered the question. A curse, a prison, a weapon, a coffin that walked, a monster's skin, all true. None complete. Finally, he said, "A warning." The girl nodded as if that made sense. Maybe it did. The traveler turned to leave. "Are you a shinobi?" she asked. He paused. The question followed him like an old ghost. Shinobi, mercenary, jinchuriki, weapon, monster, hero, survivor. Naruto looked toward the road ahead, then back at the girl. "Sometimes," she frowned. "That's a weird answer," he laughed, softly, easily, humanly. "Yeah, I get that a lot." Then he walked on. The town would later tell stories about him. They would say the hollow maelstrom passed through at sunset. They would say Naruto Uzumaki sealed a demon shard with one hand. They would say a fox spirit walked beside him. They would say he looked like a dead man and a living one at the same time. As usual, the stories would be wrong, and as usual, they would be close. Because the smart ones had always understood the truth. The hollow maelstrom did disappear after the Madara incident, and Naruto Uzumaki did survive. Both things were true. The armor had taken pieces of him. Konoha had broken faith with him. Madara had tried to turn his loneliness into a weapon big enough to hold the world hostage. But in the end, the last thing stronger than the armor was not chakra, not hatred, not destiny. It was a bowl of ramen, a rival's insult, a friend saying his name, a fox choosing to stay. A boy, broken almost beyond repair, deciding that survival was not enough if it meant becoming empty. Naruto walked into the fading light with Kurama quiet inside him and the road open ahead. No dream of Hokage waiting like a simple answer. No village forgiven in a single night. No armor to hide inside, only breath, pain, memory, and the slow, stubborn work of becoming himself again. Behind him, the buried iron slept. Ahead of him, somewhere down the road, another ramen stall waited. This time, when Naruto imagined the taste, it came back immediately, not all of it. Enough.